I'm breaking them chains and I'm up on the road. The same kind of chains kept me down in a hole. If you feel the pain, then you feel in my soul. Cause when I say chains, I ain't talking about gold. I'm talking about chains like the lock on the door. I'm talking about chains like my story's untold. I try to make change with the life that I own. So when I say chains, I ain't talking about gold. It's funny how the top take you.
What's going on, man?
What's
You
up,
have
man?
me on mute.
I know.
I feel
terrible.
like for some reason you think that you're going to fucking talk first.
Oh, right.
We're turning
I
a
know.
new leaf today.
I know. That's what happens when you put me in front of the board here.
I think our special guest, I think he's on mute too.
No.
Typically they're on mute on purpose because
That's
I
right.
get to say whatever I want to say about him just to make sure we set the stage. But he's not on mute. So what I was going to say was I taught this guy everything he knows, which means everybody that already listens to us, they know that.
They
That's
know
not
it's
true.
the opposite.
They know it's not true. Kurt Belding is on today.
Yeah, man.
We're going to get into some context on everything that he does and why he's a benefit to all you guys in the entrepreneur world. Super entrepreneur. Got a lot of cool stories as far as like just ground up stuff. The reason why I know some of that is because we talk about the fitness company where I was number 2 and, and I talk about the opportunity that I had there. And he probably doesn't listen to every episode, but I talk a lot about, hey, here's the opportunity I had. Here's what I learned. Here's why it was so beneficial. Here's the value add that gave me. That was Fit Republic, right? And people are familiar with that. Well, Kurt is the founder and creator of Fit Republic, and now he's got a ton of different stuff that he does. But I'm going to have a good time with this one because he's my guy. We have a lot of fun stories that I'm sure some of these are going to pour out on the podcast. But, regardless of everyone's history or what it may be, like I had an opportunity there, and it was interesting. And I'm curious to get some of his perspective because this was me when I first left police world. Mm-hmm. But when I was leaving police world, I was leaving military. I was putting guns down, which was a lot harder than I realized. So some of the lessons that I learned from Kurt sleeping on his couch in his basement when we were first growing a part of the company that I was kind of focusing on was interesting, and just the ability to, like, whatever he saw in me, then the opportunity that he gave me, some lessons learned, in addition to everything else outside of Will's stupid ass. There's a lot more than just that, but I'm super partial to the guy because of some of the stories we have and just some of the fun and it was ground up infantry style work. But with that being said, I want to let him introduce himself a little bit and give some context on just right away where people can find you on social media.
Sure.
And just what you're doing in addition to Fit Republic nowadays.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. It's good. It's
welcome.
good to be back here sitting, face to face again, going through all these old stories that we've been through. So
Absolutely.
But yeah, you know me, man. I'm kind of a serial entrepreneur. I have too many ideas, try to do too much shit, and then I don't end up doing anything good. You know what I mean?
Classic.
That's true. You can't say anything good. That's not true. That's modest.
I just try to do too many things, man. But it's cool. I have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, started out in the sports nutrition industry. That's where we kind of got together. But now I've stepped away from the sports nutrition industry, and now I'm kind of following my real passion, my dream, which is a hunting show and a hunting business. And that's where all my energy and efforts been into, is going on cool adventures, man, with cool people, filming them, entertaining people, and then, making that a business. And that leads into my production company, which I also have a production company that we do video, photo, design for other companies, because we had to do that a bunch at Fit Republic too. That's kind of where that started.
We were learning, yeah. We were kind of tip of the spear with some of that as far as in the fitness world, and like some of the things we were doing. We brought on Reese, which was super cool, but that's when those ideas were first starting to come into fruition. But just out of the gate, I think it's super important to see, like, when you talk about, man, like, this is my passion. This is what I really love. And, hey, I'm chasing that. I'm learning how to turn that into a business. Or, hey, I've turned that into a business. Mm-hmm. Super cool. But then you've also taken some skill sets from the fitness world and production-wise. When we're doing video and just different content that grew part of our culture there, you're taking those same skill sets and you're putting them over here.
Yeah, man, business is business. Like, the basics of all business is the same. I don't care if you're in selling a product, selling a service. It's the basics are there. So
you got to have content to shed light, and like, man, we talk a lot in like, hey, self-promotion. Is that okay? Is it not okay? Like, do you feel like a cock self-promoting? Like, man, we've had a lot of conversations around that, but the bottom line is, hey, if I feel like we're speaking to a lane we can speak to, where we're accomplished, I feel great about it. I feel great to have relationships. I feel great to be a subject matter expert, as long as, like, with integrity, I can speak to that lane. And hey, if you don't want to self-promote, how are people going to find you? Are we just expecting everybody else to promote you that have met you? Like, that's a little pretentious. right? They just expect hey, you're so humble, you expect everybody else to promote you. I don't know, like I battle that, but I think the biggest thing is when if there's a value add and the intent of what you're doing has integrity, and then the other side of that integrity is, hey, you actually do a good job at what you're selling per se, whether it's an experience, a product, expertise, like in real estate. So whether it's, an experience like you taking people hunting, that I would consider that like an experience, right?
Oh yeah.
Hey, are people actually going to go out and learn something and hunt and do, or are you just a gimmick and you don't have good areas or in real estate, that's like, hey, somebody's hiring you for expertise. Hey, are you good at what you do? Are you a professional, or do you look cute in your shirt? Right? And then product. Hey, do you have good products? But then are you also being honest that, hey, you've got to have diet and exercise in addition to products, or are you the guy selling diet pill and selling hoop dreams? Like, I think when there's integrity behind everything that you're doing, there's some good intent with it. No, I'm okay with it. And how else is anybody going to see you?
Yeah. If you don't talk about yourself, no one else will either.
But what's fun is, like, as you start growing, like for him and I, man, we get to talk, like when we're on Facebook Lives or whatever we're doing, we're talking about a client experience. Hey, here's something that popped up. Might be good. Hey, whether you're buying or selling, here's something that popped up. Might be good for you guys to just give food for thought. Whether you're working with us or someone else, hey, these things are popping up on inspections commonly in Littleton. You might want to think of these things before you buy. You know what I mean? Like, just some value adds versus, we see a lot. I don't know what you see in your industry. I'll be curious to find out. We get a lot of like realtors out there that are like, hey, looking to buy or sell? Versus, hey, get on camera and then just have like some type of like lesson plan or something that's a value add that somebody
Focus
could
on the client. Yeah,
100%.
yeah, solve a problem. And that's
100%.
that's marketing 101 that I think a lot of people mess up. And, when you're talking about like self-promotion, it's like, yeah, that's not good. You shouldn't necessarily be promoting yourself. Promote yourself in the sense that you can solve somebody's problem.
And it's indirect. You're talking about something.
Yeah.
You're fixing or you're answering or you're just combating something versus, hey, look at me, looking to buy or sell versus, hey, here's the 3 or here's the 5 things you really need to focus on when selling your house when it comes to objections that you get from buyers. You see me. Right. The caption probably says I'm in real estate. I don't need to say that. What I need to say is something of value. What do you see in your industry right now? Like, is it so, like, are you so tip of the spear with content creation, like with just the wildlife experiences that there's not a lot of muddy water there? Because like in real estate, dude, it's every
muddy
corner
as shit.
has one.
It's muddy as shit. Yeah.
And I'm not in the depth of real estate like you guys are. So, but here's what I see from the outside looking in is 99% of people in real estate is, hey, you looking to buy or sell? Hey, here's my card. Hey, let's go to the happy hour.
And they're full of
hey, let's
shit,
go to
too.
networking group. And they're all full of shit trying to sell a house or, trying to get a buy. What I think you guys are doing great is content. Content's king. And I don't care if you're not sitting here saying, hey, look how cool I am. If someone's sitting there saying, hey, look how cool I am, they're not cool. Right? They're not cool. If you got to say how cool you are, you're not cool. But if you're saying, hey, here's some educational stuff I'm going to put out there that can help you, like, you don't need to choose us as your go-to company and as the go-to guy. But when you are looking for someone, look at these things 100%. To pick someone, right? Like,
and that makes them want to pick you.
It makes them want to pick you.
Because they feel like, man, they're open, they're transparent, they're giving something. We do the same thing with realtors, man. We've got private Facebook groups where we teach realtors for free, and they're not brokered with EXP. Yeah. Some of them choose to want to come over time, and man, we're excited to team up with other people that want to grow their business. But that's not mandatory that you come over. Like, oh, hey, come over, and then you can have our private Facebook group. No. You can just have our private Facebook group. We pour into that thing twice a week. Yeah. Teach people a ton of free stuff. It's just the right thing to do. We got time for it. Like, does it build our brand? Does it build our integrity? And do people come over time? Yeah. But man, but there's no requirement to. It's just giving it. And people are choosing to come over because they feel like they have enough time to know, like, and trust you. Right. And I feel like that's where the barriers got to come down. Give a ton of content away for free. Really show what you're all about and what you're doing. And then if people choose to commit to you, understand that they kind of need some of that nowadays before they can even make that decision in the first place.
Yeah. Provide value. Provide more value than anybody else, and you're going to win, right?
How does that work in the hunting space, man? I know nothing about that business. Like the
vegan.
Fact that you can take
Eli's vegan and Jewish.
Dude, we're no longer friends.
Anti-Semite, right? It's not the vegan thing, it's the Jewish thing. Just kidding. Definitely not vegan, 100%. 100% not vegan. But what does the hunting business look like, man? To me, it's like, it's still pretty new.
Dude, it's a lot like real
Fitness.
estate in the way of real estate's been an old school game for a long time, and all of a sudden it's flipped on its head.
Yeah. You got some new people coming in.
Got some new
the
blood
good old
coming.
boys, and then the new school content creators.
Baby boomers are on their way out. Now you've got like new blood in there, but there's also just a new changing of the guard with how you market.
Yeah,
exactly. And how shows are produced and how you go to a brand to sell ad space. So the hunting industry, or the filming of hunting shows, is a lot about selling ad space or selling products.
Okay.
Right. So you look at like Primos, right? You guys are familiar with any kind of Primos hunting products? Maybe I don't know.
1,000%.
Yeah. You don't know shit.
Is it archery? It's archery,
no,
right?
like it goes
It's like a whole line of like calls and like
calls and,
gotcha. Okay.
stuff.
and hunts.
Yeah.
So they have their own show, and then they sell a product, right? So you're either selling ad space or you're selling a product for the most part. That's what you're doing in the hunting show. Well, it used to be you had to be on TV, right? And then you went to brands, and brands paid out of the butt to be on TV because that's the only place that you advertise your brand on.
Now there's influencers.
Now there's influencers. Now there's YouTube. There's other platforms that you can go on, and brands are not wanting to spend $50,000-$100,000 for a quarter to get their little billboard, a little like logo up on your show to go across TV. And most people aren't watching TV anymore, right? So like now you still got your demographics of like that old male that's 60 years old to
Watching
80.
PBS or something.
Yeah, watching the Sportsman's Channel
Yeah.
or watching the Pursuit Channel, like the hunting shows. Like you still get your demographic there, but man, things have changed a lot just over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And that's where like new blood like me is coming to the. I'm going to brands saying, listen, I'm filming my shows differently. It's not the old school way of like killing big stuff every time you go out, and it's 5 minutes of like hunting, 30 minutes of ads, right? Like I'm giving the viewer an experience where they get to come along with me on the adventure. I'm like, sometimes I'm handheld first person. They get to feel that experience. And then I'm going to brands and say, yeah, let's not go on TV. Why don't you pay ad space for me, but I'm driving people exactly right to your website. Like for $5,000 instead of $50,000, I'll get 5,000 people to your website one episode rather than paying on TV. Who knows who's coming to your website and how.
Twofold with this. Like what I love about it is it empowers influencers to not get like you're always going to have the influencers that get sponsored by crap because they just want to take the money.
Right.
But because like the playing field has changed now and the leverage is kind of with influencers, hey, if they don't like your product, they're just not going to sponsor it. That's a change. Second change is, man, even like when I'm watching like Netflix, like I was talking to Eli about the Formula One series on Netflix. I'm not sure if you watch it. It's really good. Even if you don't like Formula One racing, you'll love their competitiveness mixed with poise and just there's some cool dynamics going on in that track. But dude, I find myself looking those race car drivers up on Instagram.
Exactly.
Because of the internet, because there's so much accessibility. People, they want to know more about Kurt. Like if they like your show or whatever it may be, it starts becoming more about Kurt and what Kurt's all about and what he likes to do with hunting and outside of hunting and what his life is like.
Yeah. They get to see a personal, they get to watch your show. They may see you there. Oh, he seems cool. They look you up on Instagram, Facebook, and get to see what I do every day.
Yeah.
Very personable way like that. Yeah.
And that's what's really cool. But so that's where like the leverage comes back to the influencers like yourself. But that's also what like these brands you're talking about need to understand is, hey man, if they know, like, and trust me, or if they like what I have to say and I'm putting something on here, they're going to go look at it. Like, do you know how many people I know listen to Joe Rogan's commercials on his podcast? A lot. More than you might think. Because they actually think like, hey, if Joe's got a spot, like, dude, like the fleshlight. He's like, yeah, dude, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He would talk about that stupid thing. Sold.
Man.
And then when he's had other stuff on his podcast and then during his podcast, man, if he just genuinely doesn't care for something or the people that are around it, he doesn't put it on. So people literally listen to his commercials because they're curious about like what new sponsorships are popping up or what new thing they should go look into to see if they like it or not. Like the Dollar Shave Club, things like that. Like, oh, dude, you listen to that? You went and looked it up? It was actually a benefit to your life that you looked it up.
It's all about attention, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
but the integrity behind the intention.
The integrity
because
behind
you probably like the stuff that you're getting sponsored. You're going after companies that are good companies that you feel you want to partner with. And hey, if people are liking me and there's integrity to me, I want to maintain that while also exposing good products.
Yeah.
It's the exposure with the integrity behind it that people feel like you're being honest with what you're selling, that transparency in there and being able to engage with your life and interact. Super cool.
Absolutely.
Super cool. Yeah. But we got to rewind though.
Yeah. What you got?
You get your question out,
Okay.
then we're going to rewind and we got to be like, all right, Kurt, what was your literal day $1 man?
Okay.
Like,
I was
there.
almost going there. You know, when you mentioned serial entrepreneur, and you know, we've met a couple times, but by no means have we ever sat down like had a real conversation. So I'm curious about a lot of this stuff. I want to know like that help. Maybe it's not your beginning day $1, but man, what
can I
what kind of shit were you into leading up to Fit Republic?
I got to butt in a little
course.
bit. and then you can continue.
Of course.
I'm not Garth Brooks.
You're not. Are
No.
you sure?
Promise you. But I feel like Kurt's the one I had kids with and was married. You know what I mean? And
Right.
just like my new thing over here. Like Kurt's like, you ain't shit. I
Shit.
fucking knew Will when he was a fucking idiot. all
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not that I was a big deal, but it's just funny because it's cool to like let you guys meet, and I'm sure you guys could bro out and have some whiskey and
You're gonna
like,
have-
tell some Will stories.
You got to
dude,
fill me in
yeah.
on the Garth Brooks reference though.
Because he had a wife that he had
Okay.
kids with, but then he got married to Trisha Yearwood.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
Gotcha.
I'm just making a
Trisha
joke
Yearwood.
of like you're my little side chick and this is my
You're
wife.
Trisha.
I
Yearwood.
got it.
Yeah, and
You're the
and I was
you're
the
the
first
A1.
chick though.
You're the you're the real deal.
Respect.
You're like I fucking made who that is. Okay,
That's
Hell yeah.
awesome.
But
That's
obviously,
awesome.
I'm not Garth Brooks, and that would make. I'm also framing that like I was the center of anything, and I'm not. Not
That's
true.
awesome.
Not
Yeah.
true.
What my real day $1.0 that you're talking about?
Yeah. So high school.
yeah,
you-
just-
Yeah.
and, did you play any college baseball?
Yeah, play a little college baseball.
Super good
NAIA,
athlete.
NAIA D3. So not big level, but
Competitive.
very I mean I'm a competitive
Most people
guy.
don't know that about baseball. Like, you go to junior college baseball or NAIA, you're going there because you want to get put into the league. A lot like Bryce Harper, he went to JUCO. Most people don't understand because we have minor leagues, right? If you go to a university, you're committed until you graduate your junior year. You're not allowed to like quote unquote leave until you're done with your senior year. You go to NAIA, you go to JUCO, you can leave whenever you want. And then if for some reason you don't get picked up by a team after you're done with 2 years in JUCO, you can go to a university and be a junior and you can start.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm getting at, just a lot of competitive ball at the NAIA level and at the junior college level.
Yeah.
Super
Well,
good ball
and that's
players.
why a lot of guys go to JUCO because you still get scouts looking at you in the junior college.
100%.
Yeah. Actually more than you would maybe even a 4-year school.
Dude, I was down at Otero. We were a junior college World Series team.
Oh yeah.
Guys were legit great
yeah.
players. I'm a
Great
nobody.
players,
Those
too.
guys are really good. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I played college ball. High school, I grew up in small town Nebraska, so you get to play every sport basically. My graduating class was like 36.
Damn.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So was mine, but that's because I was at a dumbass school. like
It's like there were 5,000 kids.
We had we had 5,000. We were a 5A, but not too many of us made it out.
So yeah, I was always, and I think sports really help you in the real world too, man, especially entrepreneurship, man. Leadership, how to follow, how to know your place, how to do your job within a team. I really like sports. I think that's where I started to develop my personality really well. But, I think entrepreneurship is not really taught. You can learn a lot and you can be an entrepreneur, but like true entrepreneurship, you're born that way. And I kind of joke around, but I'm really honest when I say I'm born this way. Sometimes I wish I wasn't because it'd be a lot flipping easier, man.
You can say fucking on here.
Can I say fucking
yeah.
on here? Okay, it'd be a lot fucking
I
easier.
made fun of him being Jewish. You're good to go. Doesn't get any worse than that, buddy. Yeah, what do you mean by that? It'd be a lot easier. Like what? And what? And I
Entrepreneurship's
believe
hard,
you,
man.
Oh, it's super hard.
It's so hard.
You feel like you'd be better off like 9 to 5 and it being happy.
There's moments,
or there's aspects where it could be.
There's aspects of it. The reality, there's no way I could do it because it's like death for me.
Same.
But, and here's the man, looking at it, it sometimes looks really attractive. What? All I got to do is show up, clock in, clock out, do enough not to get fired, come home, check out, and hang
Phone's
out with
off.
the family.
5 p.m. You're done.
Phone's off, and I get to do hobbies and like. That's real, and someone just hands me money.
No one's calling you on a Sunday.
Yeah, dude, that's sometimes attractive. Entrepreneurs, just like you guys know, you guys are creating your own money. No one's giving you money.
We sign
You're
the front
making
of checks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're the one providing jobs, right? So like, sometimes, and that's why I say, hey man, I'm just born this way. I don't have a choice. This is who I am, and this is what I have to do. Sometimes I wish I wasn't. Other times I'm really glad that I am an entrepreneur. Right?
Oh, it's a fucking rodeo, dude.
And, health insurance, right? Like you're an entrepreneur, like you don't not a job. Your employer's not pitching in with health insurance. Like you're paying out of pocket. And it's expensive as hell. Like there's a lot of things that are not cool about being an entrepreneur. And I don't know why anybody would actually really want to be an entrepreneur unless they're born that way.
Yeah.
That's my honest thoughts.
Man, and I'm gonna give you. And you've heard this from me, and I struggled with it for a bit, but I'm super good. Super good with it now for the most part, and getting better. But I want to know when you kind of figured it out for yourself, because for me, I mowed lawns as a kid. I did the whole hustle growing up.
Yep.
I was working at Foot Locker, but then if I wasn't doing that, I was mowing lawns and shoveling and doing the traditional like kid stuff to make money. But then, man, like after my short stint in baseball, I go off to the military. Right, everyone knows that, and like did my thing there. And you got to definitely improvise, adapt, and overcome. So I felt like I did really well within systems. So call it entrepreneurial tendencies, maybe, if we're trying to correlate it to business. But they give you some framework. But at the end of the day, shit's going to get weird. You got to improvise, adapt, and overcome scenarios. And, man, you got to figure it out. So there is some long leash there due to the nature of when I was in the military. And then government work, same thing. And then police work, a little bit more political. We're going to leave it at that. But there is still – you've got fundamentals. But, man, you kind of got to figure it out when you're there and do the best with what you got. But I don't want to call it a late bloomer because maybe I've always been an entrepreneur, right? And, like, if we're going off your theory, like you're born that way. I just didn't get into that world and even envision myself that way until I was linking up with you. And, you know, just context on that, man, we were just, I bought supplements from you. When people are like, hey, how'd you meet Kurt?
Yeah, you're a customer.
I was a customer, but we would always vibe out on like how fitness was changing people and how cool it was and kind of how it was more psychological for me in between deployments and kind of what I used it for. And I'd start telling you stories about my history and where it mattered and, you know, and then but then we had a friendship where I tell you about some of my discomforts with law enforcement. And then one day, can't remember what day, but one day you were just like, hey man, you ever thought about venturing out? Like, man, I think you and I could maybe grow some things together and there'd be an opportunity here for you if you'd want to. And by the way, this was cool because I remember this part. By the way, I can't pay you. I got about 3 months of savings, but if we can hit A, B, and C with selling some product, it will pay for you. If we can increase things right out of the gate, we can make enough to pay you. The first month, you know, so it's like, I got 3 months of reserves, right? We got to figure this thing out, you know, but.
You know what blew my mind about that?
What's that?
I mean, we'll go back to like, and we'll go in circles a little bit, but what blew my mind about that is I remember that conversation. I was like, hey, listen, I think, man, you got some good talent. I would love you to team up with me. I think we do some cool stuff. I don't have much money.
Yep.
I can only have about 3 months of your salary.
Yep.
But I think there's good. And what blew my mind is you said yes. Because you're sitting there with a pension, with a nice salary. Now, I mean, you were kind of new on the force still. Like you had.
I was 5 years in. 5 years in. Almost 5 years in.
Right. So
yep,
like
so I'm
a
making
good salary, a pension, everything was laid out for you for great retirement. And you're like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
That's how I know you're an entrepreneur.
That's how you know.
Right there. Yeah. A non-entrepreneur does not fucking say yes to that.
True, but like even more so, man, like, you know, because and back then, like I was a good dude. Like I was a Medal of Honor recipient. They called it the Guardian Angel Award. I got it from the Aurora Fire Department for a call. So I didn't get it from the police department. I got it from the fire department. That's their highest decoration period. And if you're not a fireman specifically, that same equal highest award is called Guardian Angel Award, right? So like I was slotted, man. I did well there. You know, I was making 80-something grand, but there were some things there within the bureaucracy of it. Yep, brotherhood and bureaucracy of it. So, you know, like a lot of what I was saying yes to, I missed my relationships with my Marines. I missed like being at peace, sleeping on the side of a mountain with nothing but him, but my fucking guys. But we were happy. We had each other's back, and like you'll die for shit like that. So when Kurt, you know, kind of like let me speak to him, and was a good friend to me, and just listened, you know, and I talk a lot. So if you listen to me, man, you're good at it, right? Fucking hell, you know. But man, I also knew he was betting on me. Because it's like, hey, man, his business is also young. He had just got done getting licensed to franchise his company. And, you know, so he was on this, you know, he had been around for a while, but he's on that next chapter of really wanting to grow, which, hey, dude, you're also vulnerable there. You don't got time to be wasting with people you're going to put in your company that are a waste of time or not a good fit. Like, so, yeah, it's a risk for me. But if it didn't work, I could go back and be a cop, you know, maybe not at the same department because you don't want to put your tail between your legs and go back there. But I'm post-certified. I can go around the country and be a cop. So, you know, not that I would ever want to go back, but you were also betting on me. So when I said yes to that, I was like, man, this dude's betting on me just like I'm betting on him to have an opportunity. He's betting on me to maybe contribute here. And like, man, I actually enjoyed that I mattered to you. Like you needed me to produce versus like if your company was already built and you're worth $2 billion and like, yeah, cool, come on over. And like, but then I never get to see you.
Right.
Or I'm fit into some other system. Like that's just not intimate enough for me. I think I was just in a place where I just appreciated that friendship. And it was like, man, this guy's willing to bet on me. Cool, man. I'm going to bet on you. Let's ride. Let's roll, you know?
Yeah, we did, man.
Yeah. I mean, I downsized. So here's what's funny, man. It's like, all right, I'm in. But then very quickly it was like, all right, you got to move me in. Because, hey, I'm not making that much money, but I'm more than okay with what you're paying me. And I'm more than okay with the opportunity. Like,
you sold all your stuff, man. You're like, hey, I'm selling all my stuff. I'm downsizing. You moved in with me, slept in my couch in my basement because that's, you know, and I told you that story of when I was homeless for 2 years to build that. And you're like, yeah, dude. And We better get into that, right?
We're gonna get into that next.
And you were like, man, I respect that. That's legit. And I don't know if it was like you wanted a taste of that rock bottom, or if you're like needed to downsize, but you're like, nope, I'm doing that. I'm living on your couch.
Yeah, I needed to downsize because I knew this is one thing I've always known. Like, you can't sell desperate. You can't do anything desperate. So if I was working, for Kurt getting into that, and I was worried about bills, I'd be out there pushing product or pushing franchises in a way that didn't have integrity behind it. And I didn't want to put wrong people at play.
Yep.
Right. So I had to downsize to not stress about money. And I knew, like, hey, I got to clean my plate here. I got to make sure I'm good to go. And I think I did want to, like, just some of the stories you talked about. Like, man, I kind of like the ground up, man. I want to feel like I'm doing this thing right from the fucking gate. But before we get into you being homeless, we're going to get into that right now. Everybody listening, like, we talk about this all the time. I talked about this on Instagram the other day. What are you willing to give up? Everybody knows what they want, or most people know what they want. And like, man, I want to be this person. I'm going to be a top producer. I'm going to be this. But nobody's having the conversation about what you're willing to give up.
Exactly.
Period.
Because when you start to say you need to give this up to equal that,
Yep.
most people say no.
Yep.
Yeah. And I walked away from retirement, pension, health care, 80-something K a year,
Down to
off-duty work,
nothing.
down to a couch.
Zero money.
Literally.
Zero guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you know what I did when I first got over there? When I first slept on his couch, I got back into, hey, wake up, get your workout, drink a lot. Remember, and I tried the keto.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when I did keto? I think it was
keto. Yeah.
One, I just wanted to feel it for myself, so if people had questions in the stores, I could kind of speak to my own experience. But I knew, hey, you're starting something new. Anchor on fundamentals. Get your water in, eat clean, exercise, and get fucking rest. Period. Because you'll be able to absorb and take in this new learning curve. But if you're not tying down tight with some of those fundamentals, you're going to be in bad shape, and you're not going to be prepared to absorb anything new. Digressing.
True.
So homeless.
Yeah.
Man, we got to hear this.
Yeah, I'll wrap up day $1 here real quick. So
Deal.
you know, I feel like I was born that way, right? And you don't know that you're born that way. You have like
Are who
thoughts. You are who you are. So as I was growing up, my dad had his own roofing company. Hard fucking work, man. Hot, dirty, nasty work. And I'd always help him on the summers, and I quit him like 500 different times because you know what I mean? Like, working with your dad just was not a good idea.
No.
And so at 18, I'm going off to college. I need a way to pay for my books and stuff. So I said, I'm going to do this myself. I understand how to build a roof. I know how to do this. So at 18 years old, I got a couple buddies. We started bidding jobs, finding work, and just started doing roofing. Residential. That was
Could you
kind of my first.
imagine, like, your dad shows up at some lady's house, Sally's house, and like, oh, your son was just here and had a better price.
Exactly.
He's like, fucking good.
So funny.
Like, sorry, Dad, welcome to America.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
capitalism.
You taught
Welcome
me
to
how to do it.
capitalism.
Here I am undercutting you
so
because I don't need as much money to live, man.
That's awesome.
Right. So I roofed my way through college. In college, I had entrepreneur tendencies there also.
He was a bookie and a pimp.
No,
Were you really?
I was.
Oh,
bookie.
shit.
Not a pimp. I'm
Not a
throwing that
pimp.
in there.
Not
Yeah,
a pimp.
yeah,
bookie.
Yeah. But yeah, I was a bookie for, hey man, poor family, zero money, no way to pay for books, no way to pay for my tuition. And so you do what you have to do to pay for stuff. So I was
You're a broker.
bookie. I was a broker.
You bring people together, you organize something, you pay out, and you take your share for organizing it.
Yeah, man. So my head was always going to, how do I do this myself? If I start doing a job, could I do this myself? And I didn't. That's just where my train of thought went. It was not a natural cognitive thing. It just happened that way. So my brother at the time, as I was getting my master's in psychology, which is, I realized real quick, wasn't going to make any money.
Yeah.
And my brother had GNC stores and was just slaying it. So I was like, that looks good.
And
I'll try that.
was this early 2000s?
Dude, this
or
was
late 90s, or when was
this was maybe 2001.
Yeah. So we're talking like super, super early in the
Yeah,
fitness
glory
world.
days of the sports
Internet's
nutrition.
just starting off. Like, internet's brand new. at that
brand
point.
new, man.
Yeah.
But people are still more than but this is like when protein and diet
Oh,
pills.
it's everything.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
fucking Jay Cutler,
Yeah.
Ronnie Coleman, all over.
Ephedrine,
Yeah.
remember
yeah.
ephedrine
Yep,
back in the
yep.
day? Yeah, dude.
They didn't even have pre-workout back then, right?
No,
like
there
NO
was no
Explode
pre-workout.
wasn't even a
No,
thing.
that wasn't even a thing yet.
Yeah,
but they had Ephedra.
Don't age
Yep,
me like
hell
that,
yeah.
Eli. You make me sound old, man.
When you're pre-workout, man.
That's when you know
Yeah.
you're old, right?
Yep. 100%.
Shit.
Remember Rip Fuel?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
with the ephedra.
Dude, I took that for a baseball game.
Probably tweaked out of your mind, huh?
Lights out, dude. I was remember that Ponderosa game I was telling you about?
Yeah, that was it.
Dude, I hit 2 bombs in that game, and I was catching, left-handed catcher. Imagine that. Dude, I had like
Who would do that? Who would put a left-handed catcher behind the plate?
Well, when you're good enough, you're good enough. I actually was pitching. I threw the ball to myself.
Didn't we just talk about being humble? That's how I was pitching.
When you gotta be humble, when you gotta be. If you're good, you're good.
Funny.
Say it. But I just remember like being out of my mind, amped. I had like 56 blocked balls. I was blocking balls that were strikes. They were coming in, and I'm just drop blocking and stopping, dude.
That's funny.
Holy cow, that was something, wasn't it?
Oh man,
back in the real day.
Yeah. So out of college, I jumped in with my brother. I was with a girl at the time. I wanted to move to Boston. She wanted to move to Colorado. She won. Women always win.
Where were you at the time? Were you in Colorado?
Nebraska.
Oh,
Nebraska.
that's right.
So
Nebraska,
I was in Lincoln, Nebraska. I went to Nebraska Wesleyan, Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
And the girl I was with we were together for a long time. We decided we wanted to move. So that's how I ended up here in Colorado. I begged my parents they had some land, their little cattle farm, begged them to put up their land so I can get a loan to buy half of my first GNC store here in Colorado, which is, if you guys are from Colorado, you're around this area, it's Hampton and Tower was my first GNC store.
No kidding.
Yeah, that was way back. 2004 maybe.
Is it still there?
I think it's still there. It may have shut down. I don't know.
Interesting.
But that was my first business in the
Seven
sports
Hills.
nutrition.
That's 7 Hills, right? That's like
I
by
think
Movie
so.
Tavern.
Yeah, it's right by Movie Tavern.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So I started there, did awesome. GNC was going well at that point. Branched out to a second store in the DTC right by Cherry Creek High School, and was running two, and all of a sudden, internet hit.
Yeah.
Better supplement stores hit. GNC's name went to crap. So even though I was running mine the way I wanted to run it, went to crap. So I ended up being the entrepreneur. We're talking about, hey, sometimes you have to be crafty.
Yep.
Is in order for me to get out of GNC, I needed to get kicked out of the GNC.
You couldn't void your contract, is what you're
Right,
saying.
because I had a non-compete.
Got it.
So if I say, hey, I wanted to be out and go do another supplement brand,
They had to fire you.
They had to kick me out.
If you leave, you have a non-compete.
Right. But if I get kicked out, that would void the non-compete. So
So now you're like,
yeah, what could I do? Everything wrong to be kicked out of this
that's
franchise.
hilarious.
So, it's funny. Like then I became a franchisee or franchisor, and then I had knucklehead franchisees. Right. So like karma's a bitch.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that moment where I'm getting kicked out, I had zero money. Right. I'm trying to scrap together just enough money to start my own nutrition store.
Yeah.
And so I asked my buddy, he was living downtown at the time. I was like, hey man, I got no money. I can't afford rent. Can I live on your couch just for a little bit? He's like, sure, man. It's a 1-bedroom apartment, smack dab downtown. Yep. I'm living on his couch out in the little living room he's got, right? For 2 years, dude.
Damn. Wow.
2 years I lived on his couch.
Hey, love your friends if you're still listening.
Yeah, man.
Hey, can I sleep on your couch for a little bit? A little bit is 2 years.
I like that I'm on this type of podcast that I could tell this story too, is sleeping on the couch, man, gets old. You get kind of used to it, but it gets old. So if I wanted to sleep on a bed, I just went out and hit on the nearest girl at the nearest bar and said, hey, I'm coming over, we're going to watch movies, and I end up sleeping in a bed, right? Like, dude, that's when you're real homeless, where you want to sleep.
Blockbuster on the way over there.
Yeah, dude. Dude, one time, hold on, let me tell you this. One time I showed up. Yeah, the old reference. Thanks, Eli. I showed up at this chick's house. First time we hung out, and I had my sleepover bag with me. I walk in the door, and I wasn't even thinking. She goes, what's the bag for? And I'm like, oh,
I'm homeless.
I'm homeless. Can I sleep in your bed tonight?
Dude, this is probably why chicks were loving Kurt, because he was so tired from grinding his store. He wasn't even trying to smash. He just wanted to sleep in the bed. So they watch a movie and he just wants to cuddle.
Take a shower.
And they're like, oh my God,
he's the one.
He doesn't want to have sex?
Yeah.
No, I care for you, for who you are.
Dude, that's
so funny.
No, let's just cuddle and just out snoring like, oh my God, he's the one.
100% the truth, man. There was times we'd be watching the movie on the couch and I'm already asleep, just so I could sleep in their bed. So they would say, hey, do you just want to stay over? I'm like, yes, I get to sleep in their bed.
That is so
100%.
funny, man.
Yeah, man. So when you talk about entrepreneurship and what you're going to give up, there you go.
Yeah.
You gave up Nookie.
Gave up. Yeah,
Too
gave
tired.
up my bed.
What was that like? So when you first, branched off from GNC, cool. So you're living on your buddy's couch for 2 years. What store did you jump into? Was it another franchise? Was it your own franchise?
Yeah, just like we were talking about earlier, had I still needed a little bit of a safety net, right? So I talk, friend of a friend, dude lives in California. He owned Max Muscles at the time. He just got out. He was 2 years ahead of me. He started Nutrition Zone, was the name of the store. And he's like, hey, I'm starting this new brand. I'm manufacturing my own products. And he was doing everything I wanted to do. So instead of me doing it myself, I'm like, cool, it's already being done for me. I can use his brand, use his products, no franchise fee, no royalties. Boom, I'll jump on. I was his third store. The dude blew up and did like 50 stores. Like, he did awesome. But then at some point I needed to branch out. And that's when, you know, a couple years down the road is when I started Fit Republic.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's when you and I were friends, is when you were Nutrition Zone. That's when
I remember you first coming in.
First day we ever met, Grant Heineman was in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big old juicy dude.
See?
El Natural, we call him.
Yeah, El Natural.
Super good guy, super good dad. But I was still a cop back then. Yep. And then you know, we had a friendship, and then you moved just down next to the gym in the strip mall. And we're just a lot more talks about Fit Republic and all that good stuff, and that's kind of where it came. And when you were first navigating Fit Republic, what was that like? Was it very similar to like the Nutrition Zone experience, or hey, I'm a franchisor now? Hey, what did that look like? Did you have plans to grow more stores? Was it just, hey, I just want one store? What did that look when you first got going? What was that like?
At one point, I realized, because Nutrition Zone was having a hard time keeping up with their inventory, so they're always out of everything that I was building a demand on, right? So I was building demand on all my customers on their brands, and then they're out of it, and then business hurts. So I realized I was giving them about $100,000 a year in profit, that they were making $100,000 profit.
Sounds like real estate commissions when we pay.
So that's, you know, I realized, dude, I need to do my own brand. And it was way harder than what I thought it was going to be. Even though it was a similar model, way harder than what I thought it was going to be. So, yeah, I, again, got kicked out.
Oh, man,
No,
so
honestly, I didn't get kicked out. Here's how this one really went down was I just did it. I knew I was in a contract. And sometimes, I don't know, man, like business is business. But sometimes you look at, well, what's the other party going to do? Right?
Yeah. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Is the juice worth the squeeze? I'm some little guy, got 2 locations. You know, is it worth? So I just started it without telling them. I just did it. So I started my own brand. They realized I did my own brand. They sued me. We went through a big lawsuit. And that's one thing, man, about being an entrepreneur. It's not if you're going to get sued ever, it's when. You will. It's going to happen, and you learn real quick that it's not as a negative thing as what you think it is. Correct. Nothing is as negative as what you think it is, man. Your brain always paints that picture of being something dark and scary because you don't know it. Right? And that's what it does. So.
Well, and that's what other people have told you.
Yeah.
And if you talk to an attorney about it, well, they're paid to tell you that because that's their business is to scare you.
Yeah, that's their business. Yeah, that's how they make their money. So, so anyway, yeah, man, I just did it. Just jumped and did it. And that's one thing too, man, about being an entrepreneur is like people that are not an entrepreneur, or maybe some people that are entrepreneurs, like you sit there and think about what you should do, want to do for way too long. You wait till it's being perfect, it'll never be perfect.
True.
My rule is if it's 80% there, like if you could figure out 80% of how to do it and jump 2 feet, burn the ships, right? And just do it because you'll never get it all
Sell
figured
your
out perfectly.
shit, get rid of it, sleep with your buddy, thank him later, get going.
So everybody out there, sell all your shit right now and go move in.
Go sleep with a friend.
But it's true, man. It's it's true. Like, dude, we talk about like Andy Frisella a little bit, like some of what's attractive about their podcast is they talk about some of their beginnings. Early beginnings of sleeping in the back of the store, back when they were still figuring the fuck out, still super fat and overweight, not doing things right. I mean, they talk about it a lot. Yeah. And I like when they do because it gives you permission to start. Because, man, when you're watching Grant Cardone's or Gary V's or Ed Mylett, like, it's all great stuff. A lot of it's unrelatable. Like, it just, they're so far
ahead of you.
Worth $1 billion. Man, like, it's just untangible. Like, but when guys are showing you some, like, piece of crap table, hey, this was our conference table. We literally had a company-wide meeting, which means 4 of us, and we had to, literally justify and scrape to spend $700 on a table.
Yeah, yeah.
They still have that table to this day, but they painted a picture of, like, the not-so-fun, unromantic grit on the startup. And, dude, like, for some of us that were starting out, it gives you permission and that it's okay to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially early in your life, man, when you don't have a family, don't have kids. You could take those chances, man. But, as you get older, man, time's a little bit shorter. You got people to depend on you. You can't take those risks like you could when you're early, man.
Yep. And it's good repetition, man, because the problems don't get easier in business. The bigger you get, the more you scale. Like, you just get more and more. And
you're more prepared, but they're just more decisive.
You're more prepared. And it's one of those things, like, I think you need to learn how to manage $100 before you can manage 1,000, before you can manage 100,000, before you can manage 1,000,000.
Or have somebody manage it. That's what we have Eli for.
Or have that.
Or have hey, knowing where your talents is at, right? Well, those hardships, man, just make your successes more sweet, I think. If I came into the game and my parents were rich and they gave me $5 million to do what I want with, success would not be sweet, man.
You'd be doing drugs. That's what you'd be doing. Shit, man.
Let's go in business.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those that are okay.
Right.
So when did you decide to franchise Fit Republic? Like, what was that thought of like, hey, did you franchise it because you had 2 of your own locations right away? So when you branched off from Nutrition Zone, it was just had to be that anyway? Or when did that vision come like, hey, maybe we could create more stores out of it? So I guess probably just before I started coming around with those conversations. Because I remember you almost sold it. By the way, he knows that fucking clown too. We all know the clown I'm talking about. When you were close.
When I almost sold everything? You know that guy, huh?
Yeah, he.
Oh, I do. Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, we all know that joke.
Yeah.
You probably know him better than all of us.
Yeah,
I know him a little
I know
bit.
him on his darkest days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But what, so
Odd duck, man.
were you wanting to, because you started franchising it a little bit, or were thinking about it right at the same time you were about to sell it, but then you decided, nope, fuck that, I'm keeping it, and then you started and I came around after that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm inventing the wheel, right? The franchise model has been around forever. I was just following a model that was proven to be successful, especially in my industry. You're looking at GNC, Max Muscles, like those are the guys that did it first, and they were super successful at it. So I already had the model in my head that that's what I wanted to do. And even when I had 2 GNC stores, my plan was to take over Denver. I just wanted to own all the stores and own Denver. I didn't care about a dollar amount. I don't care about being rich. I just wanted to dominate.
Land grab.
That's it. I just, whatever I'm doing, I want to be the best at. And it comes from athletics. If I'm playing baseball, man, I want to be the best. If I'm playing basketball, I just wanted to dominate. I don't care about money. I just wanted to dominate. I just want to be the best. So GNC, that's what I wanted. I realized I couldn't do it with that brand. Nutrition Zone, I realized that I was giving up too much profit.
What
I
did
was
you
building
do to
their
get kicked
brand.
out of GNC? Like, you never said that. Would you just, like, show up to work naked?
That would have been way better. No, man, I just didn't pay their bills, man. I didn't pay their royalties and stuff like that. And at some
Didn't
point,
hang their signs
It's a
up.
good way to get some attention right there.
just don't pay the bills, man.
Yeah.
So then, cool. So you've got that model. What was attractive about when you got approached about, selling?
Dude, whatever you're doing, I don't care how long you've been an entrepreneur, how long you've been in business, you hit moments and points during that time that feels like a breaking point and you just want to be done.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys have hit it here where you're like, had those moments of like, man, I'm just tired of grinding. I'm tired of hustling every day. I'm tired and I want to cash out. I want a little bit of money in my pocket for life to be easier. And that's where I was at. I'd been grinding forever, man. Every day is grinding. I'm still grinding, you know what I mean? But it was just a moment. I thought, okay, here's a guy that like could do something more. He had more capital. He had more resources than I did, and he could take my vision and take it to the next level. I can help him out on what I was good at, and that sounded good at the time, but turned out not to be the best decision.
Yeah, what happened with that? Cliff notes,
man.
Allowed notes.
So I met a guy. He was a customer of mine, entrepreneur, but he was a seasoned entrepreneur. What I mean by that is he's been through a bunch of shit, I am now. And you can either take that one of 2 ways. You can either use those problems that we ran into and do good things, or you can use them and leverage them for bad shit and rip people off.
Manipulate people.
And manipulate people, right? So he went the opposite direction. So he took advantage of where I was at and said, okay, I'll buy these from you. He put up his house on a contract, 0 money down. I handed over the businesses, and from day one, he just started siphoning cash to his own thing, right? And at some point, the business needed money. He needed to put money in. He didn't want to. Long story short, man, we butted heads. I said, you're behind in rent. He wasn't paying the rent. He wasn't paying the bills on my businesses that he didn't pay me for yet. So I had to make a decision on whether or not to sue him and try to get his house or just take the businesses back over. And knowing I didn't have any money to pay a lawyer, so how do you think that was going to go? So I just took the businesses back over and tried to dig myself out of the hole that he had put me in.
Damn.
Did he try to keep him at all, or he just?
Nope. He stepped away, man. When you're doing something like that, I don't think you have any leverage to try to do anything to keep.
You get what you can while you're there, and you bounce.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you wouldn't have stepped back in, he'd just ran those things into the ground.
I mean, he would have sucked as much money as out of him he could have before he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got him back.
Got him back. Had a huge hole, like $50,000, $100,000 in debt that had dig out. So I had 3 locations, scaled back down to 1 in Aurora, shut 2 of them down. And that's like entrepreneurship too, right? 2 steps forward,
Yeah.
1 step back, or maybe sometimes it's 3 steps back in order to go forward. It's just part of it, man.
Yep.
You know, entrepreneurship's such a psychological fuck all the time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Right?
It is. It is.
So I scaled back down, redid my model. That's when we were talking quite a bit. You came in, I had just the 1, I think at that time, right? And I went to more franchising. I perfected the model. I was pulling big numbers for a supplement store, man. We're close to $1 million a year pulling in. And I was doing it the right way, but with high integrity to the customer. You know, just being a good dude, treating the customer.
We had a
right.
sales process. There was education to a customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't just selling a diet pill and catering to what people thought they needed.
We really didn't sell diet pills, man.
No.
We actually talked people out of them.
Yeah. Like we just had a
High
whole sales
integrity.
process and education to it, and it was really cool. And we went from 2 to almost. I think we
ended up opening like 25.
No, 20. I can't remember what it was.
I think it was 20 to 25, somewhere like that.
Total.
Total.
Was there more after I had left?
Yeah.
Was there a couple more? Because I think when I was there it was 14.
Yeah, I opened up Tennessee, Murfreesboro.
Nice.
No, that was right out in Nashville.
I think we were at 14 or 15
Yeah.
when I started branching off on my own. I think we were at like 14 or 15.
Yeah, but overall total
No,
from
yeah,
when I
overall.
started,
Yep.
it was about 20.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So then, man, you're doing that and you're grinding. And I just remember, like, so super curious too, like, what made you bet on a guy like me? Like, what made you want to? Because that, man, you made me number 2 in your company. Yeah, I was director of operations. You know, like most people think that. I talked to Eli about this too, man. Most people think, oh, cool, you're number 2 in a company that's like super young or starting over or starting fresh. It's like, yeah, maybe you don't think it's a big deal. But to the person that owns it, that is a big deal,
It's
man.
everything,
because
dude.
you're super vulnerable at that point. You got
Yeah.
if you're a $2 billion company and I come in and like some chairman, some new number 2 comes into a $2 billion company, man, that guy you can get rid of that guy and you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you're that little and you're believing in people to come through and have the right vision or right work ethic, and man, you're super vulnerable at that point. So yeah, I had some of my own vulnerabilities of like leaving a career, but what about yours?
Yeah.
You know, like what that looked like for you, and how do you decipher how you see things in people, and you know what I mean? Like, just maybe it's the psychology background to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but man, where do you feel you do well with like picking people to bring around a business? And are you, I'm sure you're still doing that now to this day, but what did that look like when you were first chatting with me about it?
Yeah, man, like you were just kind of hitting on is I've always been able to read people somewhat well and seeing their big positive attributes, right? So like when me and you were talking, at the time I knew I couldn't do what I wanted to do myself. I needed more people like me that could hustle like me.
Yeah.
Most people can't hustle, man. There's very few people that can actually sell well and put out the effort and hustle hard.
Day in, day out.
Day in, day out, man. Yeah, and I saw that in you. I saw that you could do that. And, at the time, man, like you were unhappy where you were at. I knew you could be very successful and remember that conversation? I said, man, dude, it was before you decided to come over.
We were right in front of Fit Republic.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're about to say.
Yeah.
We were on the sidewalk.
Yep.
Outside of Fit Republic. And I think I kind of asked you for a little bit of advice. I think I was asking for permission. And I know what you're about to say. Hey, man, you're going to be successful at anything you give your all. You're going to be successful at whatever you choose to do.
Yep. Whether it be choosing to come on with me or choosing to go do your own thing, you're going to be successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that in you. I knew you could be. I knew you would. So that's the reason why I said, hey, let's do it.
It's fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but then right after he brought me up, he was like, now, I only got 3 months of reserves. So here's the deal. If we can, because we had a model, because, he has his products, right? New Age Nutrition by Rival in addition to the store. So we were, wanting to grow franchises. But the first thing we were doing was like, hey, just get in there and just learn what that model looks like and just learn how to like.
Oh, yeah, man. You didn't start out number 2. I started. Remember that?
I was number 2, but I had to go through the ranks.
Yeah.
I had to take
I
my
was
fucking
man,
test.
you had to start just like a brand new employee.
Yep.
You had to learn everything, take the test, help people on the floor, like sweep the floor, clean out my locker. I mean, no, I'm just playing it. But like you had to put in the time and energy, man, to learn it from the basics.
I was super okay with that because you got to understand how everything coincides together, and that's how the Marine Corps works. You don't go to SOCOM units, you don't become a scout sniper, you're not doing recon until you learn how the infantry works, because everybody comes from the infantry when you go to those units, and it matters. You need to understand how those guys operate. If you're going to be in support of them, you have to see it. So for me to do whatever the director of operations was going to grow into, we didn't really know what that even looked like yet.
No, we didn't.
No.
Remember you started, we wanted to sell the brands. Body Rival and New Age Nutrition.
Yep.
We wanted to hit those really hard, sell them to other stores, and it just wasn't clicking for us. But then it fell in our laps one day. I think a customer walked in. You sold a franchise to one of our customers. I'm like,
dude,
wait a second, we'd
there's a
have to sell
product right
a
there.
lot of product.
It
Yeah.
happened
You know what I
happened
mean?
back to back.
Really?
I was down in the Springs talking product, and the guys started asking more about you and I over the product, and it was like,
you're like, there's my hole.
and it was like, hey, we're onto something. If we open more stores, our product's just going to be there.
He was like, "There's my way off Kurt's couch." Is what
Yep.
he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but people
Yeah.
also needed help. They needed direction.
Yeah.
They needed help to just. And it was like, hey, the franchise model quickly just became the primary because it was like, yeah, I could sell you a product like anyone else. But what they really needed was like they needed a hand. They needed help. They needed culture. They needed to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And it was the Springs. And like a couple days later, we're getting busy on the floor. You know, so and man, I couldn't remember who I think it was Alex. Who I kept giving a hard time to because he thought he was so good at sales. And I'm like, listen, I sold a franchise.
From
I
the
was
floor.
standing next to protein.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me, kid. Don't talk to me,
So
kid.
funny.
But it was true, but it was just understanding, like, just, and those people, like, I didn't, they asked me about the franchise stuff because we had advertisement on the windows, but it was the process we were giving them when we were inside. They happen to be folks that I think were just looking for a franchise opportunity, but we took so well care of them, it sparked the conversation. But it was, and I think, man, that's also, like, super important. Just like you've been feeling ebb and flows of, like, when to change models or change companies or do your own thing. It was like, yeah, we had this plan of, like, yep, okay, we've got proteins and pre-workouts and all this, and we're going to sell it to different stores. And then, hey, over time, if they like us, maybe we can talk to them. Getting out there, and this is why putting in the work is so important. Getting out there, making the phone calls. Dude, I was driving to Alamosa. You had two stores, Alamosa and yours, in the headquarters.
In Lincoln.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But, like, driving to the Springs, driving to Fort Collins, making the calls. Dude, I was driving people their product personally in my truck. Remember that?
Yeah. Damn.
But through that process and through the relationships and the conversations is when people would start asking more about, oh, so, hey, you guys have a store too, right? Yeah, hey, man, oh, what is the conversation quickly started becoming Fit Republic, not the products. But the products come with our Fit Republic. But again, they needed a hand, they needed help, they needed culture, they needed something bigger than themselves. If we weren't out there putting the work in, and if I wasn't communicating with him like some things that I was seeing, and if he wasn't a crafty dude already and knowing the market, like we never would have made that shift. We would just be blinders on, just trying to sell product and like doing the math, right? Well, make 1,000 calls a day, 5 people say yes, cool.
Right.
Yep.
Do the math. Like, okay.
You got to pivot, man.
You have to.
You gotta
If you're
pivot.
gonna grow, if you're gonna grow something different, if you want to make your 1,000 calls like in real estate, you want to make your 1,000 calls a day to Zillow and have 2 people accidentally answer the phone and just say yes, fine.
Some people
there's
do.
math.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a different way to build culture and do business. How we prefer to do business. But man, if you and I were not out there grinding day in and day out to feel those opportunities, we never would have been in front of a pivot in the first place. Does that make sense? Man, and like we encourage, like I can't even tell you how many times we're talking to people about what are you willing to give up,
Dude.
and are you putting in the work?
Don't
In the
don't
work
get
is where you get the data, though,
Don't
right?
get me
But you know what I
started,
mean?
bro.
Like, dude, we wouldn't have had that data
Yeah.
if we weren't out just grinding, putting in the work, man.
Do you know what the tragic downfall though was? Fit Republic. It wasn't the model. It was one thought that I had was a tragic downfall. Is someone wanted to open up a store. If someone come to say, "I want to do this," my thought was, "Well, shoot, why not?
Yeah,
Who am I to tell you no?" And it wasn't about the money. It was about their dream. That's what they want to do.
An
is their
opportunity,
dream,
yeah.
right? And yeah, we needed to grow, man. I need sales. But like, shoot, why not? You want to do it? Let's do it. I'll help you. Let's go.
Yep.
And I realized, and I thought that I could teach anybody to be an entrepreneur. I could teach anybody to run a business. That is absolutely 100% not true. You cannot. And sitting down before we signed contracts, and every franchisee that I sat down with, I said, listen, this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever had to do in your life. There'll be times that you will want to quit. There'll be times that you'll be cussing me out for bringing you into this. Do you sure you want to do this? Because this is going to be really fucking hard. You've never done anything harder in your life.
and they still didn't get it.
No, I got it, man. I
No.
got it. I got this.
Yeah, that's what
I
they were
got
saying,
this.
yeah.
Dude, I'm going to crush this.
Yeah.
Of course.
Nope.
Nope.
Some did.
Some did. Some did great, man. But like that goes back to like, I think, man, it's either you're that way or you're not.
Dude, we 2 examples, and I'm going to leave names out of it, right? Just because it's mildly interesting, because no one would know the names and it doesn't matter. But I remember, like, we had a like a convention for all the franchisees.
Mm.
Kurt, it sounds easy, right? It's not easy, and it'll piss you off. Kurt's like, here's the deal. I'm going to teach everybody a little lesson in like entrepreneurship and work ethic and certain things. So at our convention or whatever you call it, right? Our bash, our yearly get together. We went to a super cool place, and we had to get up and get down for 10 minutes.
Burpees.
Yep.
10 minutes of burpees. And it doesn't sound like
Hey, at
that
your own
hard, right?
pace. Go,
Yep.
you don't need to be slamming them.
But
You-
10 minutes.
No, here was the rule: you can't stop.
Oh, shit.
Can't stop.
Yeah.
So whatever your
Which
pace
brings
is,
you through a psychological, like it makes you psychologically feel the same way that you feel going through a business. And I had stages
Yep.
laid out that here's what you're going to feel. You're feeling this now on these burpees you're doing for 10 minutes. You're also going to feel these when you're running your business.
Imagine this for 10 years.
But here's
20 years.
So I thought that was super interesting because I'm like, I'm getting my fat ass up and down. I wasn't even that fat back then. I'm fat now. I would have not made that convention right now, right? Back then I was good to go. I was actually
shit.
still talking while I was doing it. But it was hard. It was hard for everybody because what you should be doing is going at your own pace. And if you're going at your own pace, then it's hard, regardless of fitness level or capacity. Everybody had a hard time at some point, right?
Yeah.
Super interesting watching it. Here's what's even more interesting. This is back when like Google AdWords and some things were really starting to pop off kind of early, and we're super productive with getting reviews on your business and certain things, right?
Mhm.
So Kurt had a guy come speak that was local. He's going over some stuff with Google and like just some benefits to it. And it was the real deal. That shit still works right now if you do it the right way.
Oh, yeah, it's
right?
great.
Still works. He had a guy come talk at our convention, spoke for about 30 minutes and kind of gave the rundown of just, hey, here's what it is, and I'm going to hook you guys up because I know Kurt. So, hey, we'll give you guys great pricing, but here's what we do and here's the benefit of it, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, by the way, I'm here tonight. So while you guys are all eating and having a good time, come chat with me in the back of the room.
Mhm.
Out of everybody that was there, we had one dude, right, who was crushing, born entrepreneur, right? Good kid, right? Doing super well. Everybody else, they could have been doing better, right? And we were constantly like answering some of their questions and going and doing repetitive training and all that. Hey, cool, right? No sweat. That night, one person went and spoke to that guy about Google, and it was the guy who was in first place.
It was crushing.
And that's when I started to really pick up what you were, because you would talk to me about psychology, you talk to me about people, and you poured into me. Did I speak all of that language? Like I knew patterns with Marines and other stuff, but what I didn't realize is, hey, when you venture into a new industry, even if there's some things that you're super vetted at, because you're in an unvetted environment, some of the basic fundamentals you might naturally be good at, you're not as good as you used to be because you're too busy absorbing this new environment, and you're right. So like, but you'd point some things. That's when it really started clicking for me, is when I saw that kid go back there, and I'm like, no, but nobody. I'm like, oh, you don't want to help yourselves.
Exactly.
You want someone to do it for you, to help you. Yeah. And that's when, and then you and I had a conversation about people that had entrepreneurial tendencies and what gets attractive to a franchise model and some of the concerns that comes with that, because they do think it's this cookie cutter one-stop shop. It's like, no, you'll have your advertisement and your product and everything else. Hey, the one thing the franchise does not include, work.
Exactly.
You gotta
Still gotta work, man.
You gotta bring the work and some of those things, and like I do remember one thing, and this is the only thing, and I didn't take it personal, but it rubbed me the wrong way. People kept wanting like, well, more training. Like, well, yeah, they wanted a video, they wanted a book, so we started making a culture book and some different things, and it's like, hey, they're like, oh yeah, but they started having excuses. Yeah, it's like we would go down and train them, but they wanted something to hold on to. They wanted like this material, and it's like, well, hey, we joined the franchise. And then I'm like, hold on a minute. True. And this is why I almost took it personal, because I bet on you, but I also understood my responsibility and my opportunity. If he had already made it in that company, some $2 billion company, I'm not walking in as number 2. And again, I went through the ranks, but he had me slotted. Let me be accurate so I'm not confusing anybody. Number 2 position, I grew into that through opportunity and through, we just didn't know what the company was going to look like. I was on the franchisor side. To be more specific, I wasn't there to manage. I wasn't there to be a part-timer. I was there to help Kurt grow the franchise and whatever that looked like. And then it grew into, hey, at number 2, and we started doing well. But the one thing I always felt I did right for you was pay my debt for the opportunity. And people got in, dude, with like very little or no or just very little franchise fees. Like, hey, do you know how much it costs to own a Subway? You want to keep talking to me about Subway? You want to keep talking to me about these other franchises? Hey, those are $500,000 franchises.
Yep.
You have an opportunity right now to get into business all in with your spot, your shelves, your product, everything for this much. But then they would not put in the work, but then they would blame it on, well, I need more material. It's it's the lack of material that's making it. It's like, hey, you got better than material. We're coming down here training you. You're doing everything you can but the work. And then again, like, I'm okay if you want more material, but please understand the part of the opportunity is you're getting in super early with a franchise that's young and up and coming. And if if you know anything about business, like, hey, those are great opportunities. If you want this, that's fine. You can have that. Go pay $500,000.
Which goes back to like that exercise I had people doing, which I think will bring value right now to that was the stage. There's stages, man. And I'm sure you guys have felt these stages in business too. And if you guys are listening, look at yourself. If you're going through business or you're about to start a business, this may be of value. Is the first stage of owning your business is the honeymoon stage. Everything's fun, man. It's exciting. You're creating a new logo or like a brand new building or a new company, or like it's really fun.
No real problems yet.
No real problems yet. Maybe some problems, but like you're too excited to have problems, right?
Yeah, you got too much energy. Like you're just like, oh, no big deal, no big deal,
Yeah,
big deal.
Your dreams, and it's like, like you're still in that honeymoon stage. And then things get a little bit harder, and you start to self-doubt. Am I good enough? Do I have enough resources? Is this who I am? Right? You start to self-doubt. Then things get really fucking hard, and things get really scary. You have some really big problems, and that self-doubt, your finger starts going outside of you, and you start blaming other people and other things outside of you, whether it be the franchise that you're with, or they're not giving us enough material, they're not training us better, they're not doing the ads or whatever it is, like outside, or the economy, COVID, whatever it is, man. You're pointing outside, and then at some point, you got to grab your nuts and suck it up and fucking finish, or you quit, right? And that's the last stage. So everyone feels those stages, but if you can get to that last stage and realize that you're in control of your destiny and no one outside of you is in control, and you can create whatever you want in this world, and you realized it and you created it and you made it successful, that is the best feeling in the world.
100%. Yeah. 100%. And that's also like, for like him and I, this is why it's great for like the real estate platform, because him and I don't have to hang it up. We have our team, we employ people, we have it all, right? But like, man, at the end of the day, we could just go, we're just not doing that anymore. And him and I could just do our own deals.
There's so many avenues. There's so many places you can take it.
We could cut everything right now and just get back to him and I running and gunning on deals together.
Or the opposite. Grow a team. Do we never have to touch a deal again?
Yep.
It's like,
There's so much
what are we in it
flexibility.
for?
We could do investment deals, the commercial side, the traditional sells and buys. Like, we have a lot of flexibility versus like when you're doing the traditional franchise. It's like, do I keep it or not?
But even you guys starting out, man, I'm sure you felt that same way, right?
Oh, we're still there. Yeah, we still go through it. It's these phases of just, and especially that's the dangerous part about always growing. Not dangerous, but that's just the truth behind always growing, always progressing. Is that same cycle you mentioned repeats throughout every little phase of the business. Yeah,
dude,
every little thing.
Man, we were talking offline about who we merged with and some partnering things that we're doing, and every time I feel like we level up, what are you going to give up? It wasn't just in the beginning. It wasn't just selling my crap and living in your basement, right? That was the start of it. But it's like, even now, hey, what are you guys going to give up to level up? And then what are the new roles and responsibilities? And then, hey, there's a lot of like commitment and obligation for you to excel at what people are counting on you to do. Because now when you start leveling up and you're getting around good professional dudes, they're going to do their part. Are you going to do your part? And you got to make sure you're there. And man, we're there. We're at that phase now. Like he calls it the breakup phase. Like, we don't yell and scream at each other anymore. Like, fuck this, I'm out of here. You can have the company. I don't give a fuck, right? Like,
we know we're married.
We don't break up anymore. You know what I mean? Like, we just talk it out and all good. And which is a good thing, because now as we have like these new growing pains, it's not about quitting. It's never about
that
quitting.
Fear is like eliminated.
It's more about like, cool, we've got, hey, this car's going a little faster, right? Or like in shooting, hey, you're shooting a little further. So these little things that you can kind of get away with here and there, hey man, get away with you got to tighten fucking down, because that there at range, you're a mile off. You're shooting some grandma cooking apple pie, buddy. You ain't shooting target, right? Problem, okay? So it's like just feeling those and making sure that communication is there and roles and responsibilities are there. And a lot of it's communication.
And there's that confidence aspect to where you're going from 8th grader, right? Top dog in middle school, and now you're freshman again. in high school, and you're like, oh shit. Look
Well,
at
and I
that.
love that.
Damn.
He calls
You
it
know?
that. I call it Patrick Mahomes. Like, hey, I'm still a stud. I'm just a new stud on the block.
Yeah.
You go back to middle school, I'm like, fuck, that's depressing. I'd rather call myself Patrick Mahomes and like,
well, yeah, man. Every time you level up, you're rubbing shoulders with elbows with, the leveled up kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're like, ooh, shit.
So what?
That's
So
true.
when you, and I'm super curious, right? So cool. So you start venturing away from Fit Republic, right, and doing your thing. What caused that shift as far as like going into your passion? Like, what caused those thoughts to not only like shift away from Fit Republic? I'm sure there's business reasons you decided to do that, but then what led to? And make sure you call it your company too, so we can get a shot out for your company. But like, what led to not only shifting away from Fit Republic, but going into your passion?
Yeah.
And then what were the thoughts on how you could turn that into a business?
Midlife crisis.
Yeah,
No joke, bro.
no kidding.
No, I mean, I joke.
You're not
it's
even
midlife
that old.
crisis,
You're not
but
even
like,
that old.
Literally, it's like when I hit 40. I'm 41 now, right?
Yeah.
I know I don't look that old.
Nope.
I look sexy as hell.
These old dude, I know why older guys are having like their beards now.
It's true.
Because they don't show their aged pores. And all these fucking 20-year-old kids want to grow beards.
Yeah.
So they all look
One
the
day
damn
kid.
same.
Yeah.
And I can't grow a cool beard like that. So I'm going to talk shit because I'm insecure. Sorry.
Yeah, man. No, like, I was in the industry for 20 years, man. And I just had to fight so much of that industry. Ups and downs. Like everything. Here's one thing that absolutely is always true. Everything's always changing.
Especially
Nothing
in
will
the
ever
fitness industry.
in any industry,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Especially fitness, but everything's always changing. Nothing is ever staying the same. And you're either growing or dying. Don't ever think that you're going to stay here.
Yeah.
You're either growing or dying. Either you're putting forth the effort to progress or you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're going the opposite direction. It is what it is, no matter what industry you're in. So I was looking at retail, man. I was just tired of retail, tired of the sports nutrition industry. And I was looking at my life, man. Like, I'm 40 years old. Do I want to be 50 still running supplement shops, still doing this stuff? Do I want to be 60 years old? No, man, I just don't. So I started thinking about what do I just really enjoy doing, what I love doing. And it was hunting. I grew up hunting in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Loved it. And I love fitness.
Dude, I remember you, and this is like, man, just to throw you some credit, right? Not to cut you off.
Sure, no, go ahead.
But just like how you are good with people and opportunity, and you can kind of, something's always for sale, or there's always an opportunity somewhere.
Always an opportunity.
Dude, I remember like just before I was parting ways to do my thing, you had gone up and did a hunt somewhere. But then where you were at, I think was like, you started talking to those guys about maybe purchasing their land.
Yeah.
Or purchasing the
outfitter.
ability to hunt something. And I remember you talking about some of that stuff right as I was like kind of like on the outskirts. So you kind of just went out and were doing what you love, but then almost like an opportunity for business kind of presented itself. And did it kind of click like, oh man, maybe I could scale that? Or
Well, as you were leaving Fit Republic and branching off doing your own thing, you're right. I went on a hunt. I bought an outfitter. So I started my own outfitting company. And then we started doing meal prep foods too. So I started Fit Republic Foods.
Yep.
So like I'm always, man, like I said, you're either growing or dying. So I'm always figuring out a way to make things better. I'm always making moves, right? And so you guys are too. You're always reinventing yourself. Same way, right? So yeah, man, I still have the outfitter. I don't do anything with Fit Republic Foods now more than like consult. Same thing with Fit Republic. I just mainly consult there. But I decided that I didn't care about money anymore, to be honest with you. So it wasn't about business. Yeah, I still need to make a living. I want to continue the way of life that I'm living now. And I love my life.
Yep.
And just for all you guys, and you already know this, but all you guys listening, I'm not rich. I've never been rich, and I'll never be rich. And at one point in my time, I wanted it. But as I hit 40, man, I just didn't care about that as much anymore.
Rich in the sense of stacking
Money-wise.
cash.
Stacking
of course.
cash.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like your private jet, Lamborghini, and I've never been that type of guy anyway. But like, I never had a ton of money. The money that I had, I was always trying to do stuff with, whether I was investing into people or new businesses, new game, whatever I was doing. Right, that money was always out of my hands. And so I've never been rich, never going to be rich, and I'm 100% cool with it. What I realized, I just wanted to do what I want to do with my life.
yeah, but that sounds rich as fuck.
It is rich as
does,
fuck,
yeah.
man.
Right? Like I don't ever want to downplay that.
That's why I'm saying, like,
dude, we know, and like in the real estate world, man, we've met some pretty wealthy dudes like within lending and certain things, and we've met some great ones, and we have ambitions to make livings and certain things. But I think the one thing that was beneficial coming into your life, at the age I did, and then kind of venturing into my own thing at the age that I was doing, is like I haven't lost that perspective. Like I haven't chased or that rabbit out in front of me. I haven't sacrificed my integrity or my soul for $1. And like we're doing okay and we're growing, but I feel like it's the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel like the relationships around us like matter, and like always took that away from when you and I were growing. And dude, here's what's else is crazy. I'm curious how much you reflect. I took more from our experience after
That you look back at it.
than in. And I'm like, man, like we're fine. We're good. I had nothing but good intention there, and I was a hustler and kind of ran a tight ship with some of the managers and just was really trying to pour in and do the best that I could. But sometimes, like, until the dust settles and you're signing the front of checks and you're doing your own thing, some of those lessons just don't, almost like parenthood, man. Like, there's things now that I have a kid, I fucking just laugh in my own head at like what my mom and dad are saying right now. Cause you get it, you know, and I use some of those experiences so much. And I'm curious if like you use some of your own experiences, even from, you were the owner of Fit Republic. Do some of those lessons still apply to now? Like, are you still using some of that?
Absolutely, dude. Everything that you go through, positive, negative, it's like a tool that you put in your tool belt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You'll learn, oh, that happened when I did that.
Yeah.
Either that was cool or let's never do that again. And you learn, you put it in your tool belt, right?
Yeah.
And then you're right, man. You can look back, and now that you're more mature years later, look back at some of the lessons you learned, and you actually take more out of it than what you did in the moment. Of like, oh, I understand that now. I understand what place I was in and what I put into that problem or success. And then you can use it later. You bring everything with you. That's why, like, it's so important to go out and do as much as you can do, taste as much as you can taste, to experience as much as you can experience.
And being good to be people too. You know, like
being good dudes.
Credit to you. And most people
Minus
don't.
GNC. Fuck GNC.
Bro, they're way too high priced.
I can't believe they're still around.
Dude,
man.
I can't believe we're still selling NO Explode. Come on, man. You don't got anything else yet? Come on, right? But you know, a big reason why I was also still able to take, because here's the thing too, right? Like when you have experiences in life, whether they're good or bad, right? The whole saying, like, hey, people are going to show you how to be or how not to be. And I don't know about you guys. I'm still human. So if something has a bad taste in my mouth, it's harder to pull lessons from it. You're going to pull one or two, never going to do that again, or never going to let that.
Until it's not a bad taste.
Right. But you're going to pull one or two things and that's it. You're not going to, you know, like if I have somebody where like, you know, hey, we part ways, whatever, and like it you know, it's not terrible, but it's not the best or whatever. You're going to pull one or two things, and then the primary objective is you're just going to stop thinking about it, and it's no longer a part of your memory, or it's definitely not a part of your lesson plan. You take the one or two lessons you can and you move on, you know. But something that I don't even know if I've had the opportunity to talk about as much, but one of the reasons I'm able to pull from like the lessons and things that we did at Fit Republic, which is people and relationships, is, you know, when I decided I was going to branch off, and it was kind of permission with like Kurt and I. Like Kurt and I had a really good conversation one time where like I thought he was yelling, but then I was yelling, but then he was yelling, and then a door slammed, and you know, I'm being funny. It's one of those. And what you hear about from dude, Andy and Sal have gotten in fucking fist fights.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
I mean, we
shit.
were there too, man.
We were close
once.
down.
Yeah,
we were close once, but then we're both getting older and we're pussies and we love each other, right? You know, but like, hey, cool. We diffused for a couple of days. Hey, take a break. Let's just you know. And what we did, I was like, hey, man, we can't be doing that in front of employees. You know, hey, we've had a couple of like disagreements here and there. No, you know, hey, cool, after hours, and hey, Kurt's under some pressure, whatever. No sweat. But if it happens in front of employees, it's like, all right, we got to take a deeper look at this, right? All good. I was still there. Kurt, let me keep my job, and I was still there, and you know, but we went deeper with it. It was like, okay, but why did that happen? Are we mad at each other? Is there something that's bothering each other about each other, or what? You know. And I feel like with integrity, it was like maybe I was trying to subconsciously, I just kept running. I was like I didn't have as much poise as you did, and you were the bird's eye view. I think I just kept selling shit. Like, bro, we were going to hit 100 franchises and none of them be fucking open. I don't know. Right? That's for him to figure out. He'll fuck out. Hey, dude, I'm just hunting. You're the guy chopping it. You're the butcher. I don't know. Right? And I wonder if, like, at some point, if I was almost like unintentionally maybe taking the company in a direction you didn't want it to go, or maybe we just weren't quite ready for more and we had to restructure, but we hadn't had that conversation. Maybe there was some friction there inadvertently, just normal business growing pains where I'm not versed enough in business to feel that growing pain. I'm just out thinking, I'm like a puppy, right? Like you're throwing the ball and I'm catching it and bringing it back. I don't know that I need to drink water and take a break and, you know, like, no, man, you throw the ball, I catch it, right? And I had to learn that. So after that hissy fit that we had, right, man, we kind of dived into that more, which was really cool. It wasn't just like, okay, man, we're good. And You know, and I remember Kurt was like, man, I think you're just ready for your own thing. Like, I think you just, you know, the only, you know, like, I was taking so much initiative too. Like, I had my truck wrapped in Fit Republic. I was at the gyms.
Man, you went all in.
All in.
Yeah.
But it caused friction because some people are like, Kurt was like, hey, man, like, people think you own this place. And I'm like, dude, I'm not saying that. Hey, man, like, I'm saying, like, hey, I'm a part of this team here. And I definitely made it was clear that I was on the corporate side, on the Kurt side. And then maybe people assumed there's some ownership there. So maybe it was cloudy for their perspective. But I was like, man, I would never do that to you. I would fucking never say that. But then it's like, well, are you also being clear, or are you so excited to talk? Like, there's some things there, but I was also excited to push, just keep pushing. I didn't have that maturity in business yet to navigate. I was more of a motorboat versus like a sailboat.
Yeah, but that's what I needed at the time, though.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But man, but here's what's so cool, and here's why I can pull so many lessons from it, because it ended on a good note. So we're, you know, I'm like talking to Kurt about, man, maybe I should venture off. I was scared as fuck.
Yeah.
I like planted the seed. I kind of threw it out to Kurt. Dude, he didn't get mad at me. He wasn't worried about his business or what Fit Republic's going to look like if I'm not there. Like, dude, that thing will move without me. It's cool if I'm there, but it's going to live if I'm not, right? Just like this world will. But we started having conversations about some of that stuff, and that's where I think, started to kind of get just more mature, you know, like, so I did, you know, and I was like, man, like, so I gave some notice, like a month notice. I fucking worked 3 times as hard as I ever did to make sure my integrity was there, and I left that place on a good note. And man, I'm like a week away from leaving. You know, I'm kind of crying a little bit, like just a little emotional, because him and I are by the back room watching the floor. Guys are helping customers, and man, just attached to it. You know, I put a lot of effort in. I was like, man, like, should I go? You know, like, but, you know, and like, he felt what I was doing. He's like, hey, man, I think you just need your own thing. I think you need to venture off. And the dude gave me 10 grand. Here. He gave me 10 grand severance.
Damn.
He didn't fucking owe me 10 grand.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
hey, we had an agreement. You make
Yep.
this much a month, and if you sell a franchise, you can have this much. And I was more than okay with that. Period. But he gave me 10 grand. Like, hey, get on your feet. You know, maybe take a week or 2 off and collect your thoughts. And hey, you know, dude, that's fucking cool.
That's legit, man.
But I also
Yeah.
knew he was still growing. You know, like, hey, man, I'm going to give you what I have because I appreciate you.
10 G's at any phase of business.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it was important, but it also like, man, it left such a positive note there for me to move on. Like it literally created the pathway to look back and start using, hey, where could I be? Because I don't think anyone ever questioned my intent, but I had to mature past, hey, just because your intent's good doesn't mean you get to act however you want to act or be, you know, like, and, man, I was a little brash, unintentionally. You know, but like, you know me, right?
I do know you. I do know
Imagine
you.
me before me. You know what I'm saying?
before me.
Oh, shit.
And
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
and those that know me super, super close, if I care for you or if you bet on me, dude, I was like his pit bull.
Yeah.
I fucking hear a word about Fit Republic or some negative shit or some shit you're throwing his way, and I fucking hear about it, man, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
And that was just, now, could I have articulated better? Probably, right? But that was
Probably.
but that was just my creed, man. Like, hey, that dude bet on me. Whatever you got to say, you better not let me fucking hear it.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna have something to say, man. We talk about this with Tosh all the time. You know, like, hey, if I care about somebody and you want to run your mouth or whatever, hey, that's fine, man. I can't control you, but you're gonna know real quick. Don't do it in front of me.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep.
Because here's my relationship with that person. But dude, you gave me 10 grand when I left.
Yeah, man.
You know, and that let me buy a little bit of time and collect my thoughts. And
Money don't mean shit. It's just doing the right thing, man.
Yeah.
Taking care of people, especially the people that have taken care of you. You know what I mean?
But it's also interesting because, like, you know, through some of like the growth of Fit Republic and some of the naysayers and this and that, it's like, hey, man, if you don't know that guy like I know him, I just don't want to hear what you have to say because I know how he treated me, and that's what's always going to matter most. But man, that note literally made me feel good. Like, it just, man, it felt good that you did that, and I would just, dude, even when you're not around, I talk to him about Fit Republic examples, and it literally just gave such a positive note. I enjoyed reflecting back on those experiences and where I could improve, and hey, how can I take those lessons into our business now to be beneficial? And dude, it's just cool. And then now, I still got scared. I go do some little gym stuff for a couple of weeks, crush it. They changed my pay structure, got my pee-pee smacked. It was like, yep, hey, no excuses, go start your own shit.
Yeah, man.
And it was back to a basement, but man, like, those things are important, you know, and like, I want to hit back on a little bit on you as far as like, hey, I live my life how I want to now. Like, I was in that for 20 years. And so how do you still approach every day? One, like it's day $1, like it's still, cause you still have hustle in you, But I feel, and this is kind of the comparison I use. You've got like a Nate Diaz. You like fighting?
Yeah.
So you know Nate Diaz, man. He's high tempo. He's just kind of slapping you with a ton of shit.
Yeah.
But it's like very fast tempo. Not everything's landed, but he's not going to let you slow down. Mm-hmm. Then you got like the Conor McGregors or like a Iceman, Chuck Liddell.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't hit you as much, but man, when they come through, you bleed.
Yep.
And I try to envision that with business. Like I'm trying not to necessarily throw so much shit against the wall, but I feel like the more versed we get, man, when we make a decision and move on something, it's super. It does super well. Do you feel the same way with like what you're doing now, or how do you maintain like that hustle? Because you made two comments. I guess what I'm getting at. Hey, you're either growing or you're dying. You're not staying the same.
Yeah.
So I definitely know you're not approaching every day to just stay the same. Like, oh, I'm a hunter now, so I just go out and do my thing and I stay the same. I definitely know you don't believe that because in any business, you're growing or you're dying.
Absolutely.
But it seems like you have a little bit more poise and balance.
Yeah, man, I'm a little more mature. I mean, yeah, I'm an old dog, man. I don't have fucking energy like these young cats.
Right.
But yeah, man.
Like what's different with the model? Because you're not chasing people. Like the model you have, like you chose to go into doing the outfitter thing and the wildlife thing. Is it just a different model where?
No, man, business is all the same.
Okay.
Business is all the same, man. Every part of every business is the same on its most basic level, right? And so I don't do a lot of things differently for the most part. It's you got to move fast, you got to work hard, but you got to have patience and you got to go slow.
But you don't have as many.
I know this seems very contradicting, though.
No,
right?
right.
So true, though.
Yeah,
But you don't have as many employees, right?
that's what I actually love, man.
Yeah.
It's
Cut the
all
fat.
on me.
You cut the fat. That's
I don't
what
have to rely on anybody else.
Yep.
If I'm sinking or I'm floating, it's all on me. It's on my back, my work ethic. If I want to be lazy, it's on me. If I want to kick ass, it's on me. I don't have to rely on anybody else.
Franchises aren't calling you. Part-timers, managers aren't calling you. You're not calling them, trying to motivate them to get their numbers up and do better, right?
Exactly.
Like you cut the fat.
Yeah,
You
cut
got
the whole simplified way down to, I had, I think it was almost 30 employees at one point with a kitchen, all the stores, and I had a lot of employees all the way down to one now, which is me.
Yeah.
And it's all on me. But I approach business the same. If I look at, if I want to reach a certain milestone, whether it be what I think is success or a dollar amount or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, it's going to take X amount of hours.
Yeah.
Let's just say it's going to take 1,000 hours for you to reach whatever you want to reach. How fast do you want to get there?
Yeah.
How quick can you get those hours in? And it's got to be good hours. You can't get caught stuck in the weeds looking at Instagram and doing some dumb shit. Putting out fire, doing shit that doesn't really matter, but you feel like you're working, you feel like you're busy, but are you really going towards that goal of 1,000 hours that you got to get there? Yep. If you're not going towards it, you're just sitting the same, right?
Correct.
So you have to understand, what am I doing right now that's going to help me get there? Or is this bullshit stuff that I can cut out and I don't need to be doing?
Well, and the fact that you've leaned out and everything is like back centered to you being the brand, right? Like you got to make those decisions. Sometimes like when we're running those stores, it's like if shit's just kind of hitting the wall, you just got to go. You just got to figure it out. Yeah. But again, it takes away from a lot. Yeah. There's a lot there. And like him and I, we had a team, like with Berkshire Hathaway, we were top 1% in the world and then top 0.5% in the world with our team. I think at one point we had 14 on there. But man, when we decided to go into EXP's model and like, hey, grow a downline, I was like, hey, I don't want to keep teaching. And this is, I think, where maybe you got with it as well with the Fit Republic stuff. I don't want to keep teaching people the same shit and babysitting them on the same shit. I want to get around people who I can teach that to, and they take that and run with it, and then I can teach them something different, and then something different. And we always have this progression of instruction. Like at some point, I want to teach an agent how to be a leader and grow their own team. Mm-hmm. I don't just want teammates on our team to show up 3 times a week and I'm borderline I'm just repeating this, you got a different question, but it falls in line with the same fundamental question you had a week ago. Mm-hmm. And they're just brain dumping and they're relying on you to do it. But there's a couple of people that kind of creep through that want to build their business, that want to dive in and grow. And I'm like, man, that's like coaching freshman ball versus varsity ball. We love it. So when we decided to branch off and hang our license with EXP and just grow our downline, the downline is all predicated on you teaching people how to be influencers and build their brand. I'm not your boss. You're your own boss. You're your own brand. We can just teach you everything we've done to build our brand and execute as a professional on deals. We can pour into you, but it's on you to build your own brand. We love that. So when we moved over, dude, we didn't take our team.
Yeah. But you realized a lot of your time is spent doing nothing.
And you
feel busy. Mm-hmm. You feel like you're productive.
We were pouring into these into our and I love them, but we were pouring into a lot of agents, and it wasn't necessarily pushing the needle on him and I. Exactly. It was pushing the needle on them. But hey, if I'm giving you 3 times the amount of time to to get you to do 1 or 2 more deals, what's the ROI on that? Versus like, man, if I just give that time back to myself, I'll stomp it in the dirt.
Yeah.
So we started seeing that. So, man, we had the CEO of Berkshire, or whatever position he is, one of the CEOs of all of Berkshire on our podcast.
1 year ago today.
Shut the fuck
Yeah,
up.
it was 1 year ago
Cheers,
today.
mate.
Yeah.
We were on his podcast. He was on our podcast, and then
yeah.
dude, within 2 weeks, we were gone. Not only did we leave, we didn't take our team.
Yeah.
And it like, dude,
I shook some things up, huh?
it just weirded people out because it's like normally like if people leave like, oh, the biggest Remax team leaves to Berkshire, or Berkshire's #1 team leaves to Keller Williams.
Yeah.
They take their team, they leave as a unit.
Yeah.
No, dude, we fucking crushed. And then anybody we had ever trained and spun up that was on our team, we left them there. And it was, dude, you ever see like
felt good, man.
Dude,
you ever
felt
been-
good.
you
That
ever-
weight just
It
off your
felt
shoulders?
so
huh?
good.
But you ever
man.
been thrown a screwball or like a good changeup where it's a fatty, but for some reason you couldn't hit that with a paddle?
You're like, wait a second, what just happened? Yeah.
That's what we threw in, and people didn't understand it. It's like, well, you don't understand it because you don't have context on how much it took to get these agents to perform where they were at. We didn't need our team to come with us so we could have the same standard and the same issue over here. We needed our time back. We knew, like, man, him and I are the brand. We're the ones doing video
time
and
and
doing the brand.
energy, man. Like
Yeah.
protecting our energy was so huge. Like
Yeah.
him and I be having a great day. We're crushing clients. We're doing our thing. Then you get a fucking phone call. Some agent fucks something up, and now the entire day that was here is now here, and it's just like, oh fuck.
Well, dude,
You remember all those talks about time and energy, dude? Will would come at me like a fucking tornado. Oh my God, I got this.
Hey, with the best of intention.
Oh yeah, best of intention.
Yeah.
With all this
yeah.
shit that you
Yeah.
wanted to do because you were so excited. And I'm like, yo, bro,
Get out
time
of my
and energy.
office. Yeah.
Is this going to be good for time and energy? Is there a best place to put time and energy? If not, get out of here.
or it was unsolicited during his morning. He's drinking coffee. He's got his laptop open, and I'm coming. He had to pay bills. Like he was the owner,
Yeah.
dude. He had other shit going on.
Yeah.
I got to be like the creative one.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
like
yeah.
the husband with the real job, and I was like the housewife pretending to like have a purse company and come in with all these fucking ideas. Like,
That's funny.
but then I
bro.
remember like he would be at his computer, and I would just come in and say, "Hey, dude, good morning. Hey, check it." And he would go. He'd be typing, and he would stop. Good morning. Like, hey,
Yeah.
can you come back in an hour? Get the fuck out of my office, Grimes. What are you doing? But it's true, and a lot of good lessons. But it was good for us to get our time back. But something that, like, man, he saw, and this is where, like, I think I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm getting there with
You
it.
are.
But
Yeah,
some
of
of
course,
you,
100% are.
but you guys have been like, you guys are like just a real crafty, can learn a lot of different things to do stuff. And he saw it early on. He's like, hey, man, because I started seeing some of it with the team. And he's like, dude, I'm listening to what you're pouring. I'm listening to like what you're pouring into them, and it's really good. And it should not be to 9 people or 14 people. And more importantly, they don't understand the value in what you're telling them. And you keep repeating yourself. We need to create courses or take this thing national. We need our time back. We need to be the brand. We need to fucking roll. And it was funny because I think we were doing a podcast. This is when it was still in my basement. And we were going over our schedule for the week. It was like a Wednesday or a Tuesday. We're getting ready to do a podcast. And we're looking at the calendar for like what the rest of the week looks like. Like, oh, cool, Friday team meeting. And he goes, oh, fuck. And I go, what? He goes, I don't want to go to that. I don't want to do that. And I was like, all right, what's up? He's like, we should just fire the team. And I go,
Just nonchalantly like that.
that neutral. And
I
then
don't feel like going. Let's just fire the team.
Dude. But then I was like, all right, like, what's up? I've always been really good as much as I talk. Like, if he says something, I listen. And if there's some validity there.
Because
like,
he's the type of guy, man. Like, he doesn't talk a ton because you're usually spending up most of the time talking.
Yep.
But when he says something, you know it's important.
yeah, and I know that he's got some thought behind it.
Yeah.
Eli's this deep-rooted, doesn't say shit fucking guy. Like, people are like, hey, Will, let Eli talk more. He doesn't
do
fucking
too.
talk.
If you-
What do you mean let him talk more?
Yeah,
he can
yeah.
talk all he wants. He chooses
Yeah.
not to fucking talk.
That's
That's
true.
why he hired my stupid ass.
That is a very good point.
But it was like, it was so funny because like we had both kind of had the same feeling, but hadn't spoken about it yet. But it was like, man, we should just diffuse the team. And I was like, okay, what's that look like?
Yeah.
But then it started to come in, and dude, that afternoon we just knew.
Yep.
Hey, and
Yep.
I think we stayed on.
We
for 2
sat on
months.
it for like 2 days. We're like, we knew,
No, we sat.
but
We
You
knew
but
that
you-
day.
you
We didn't actually do
respected it
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
to give
yeah.
it time.
We get
Yeah.
because we had an event coming up for an award ceremony.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, dude, there's no way we can diffuse the team, and then they all show up 2 weeks from now receiving an award but we're all broken up.
Yeah.
So let's tell them that night, and then it was really cool because we told them that night, hey guys, here's what's going on. Let's have one last kick-ass night as a team. Let's enjoy our awards. Let's have some drinks. Let's have a great fucking bash, and let's leave this thing on a high note. And it did. It carried the momentum through, and everybody felt like they had some closure with it. And because people thought it was like this super planned thing, it was like, man, like, and it had a lot of loyalty to the team. There's a lot of good people there, but it's like at the same time, man, I felt, and here's where I started seeing the model. I'm like, well, I see the model. Like, I train you guys. I see you 3 times a week. Friday meetings, one-on-one accountability meetings, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays, I'm teaching a class.
Time and energy.
Dude, I felt like the agents on the team, we were maximizing their potential, right? So it was like, all right, well, how do we do more deals? You add more agents and have to train them.
And all your time is spent training.
But this is where we started really seeing, but dude, we saw some influencers out there really doing their thing. And that's where, man, his ability to kind of navigate, like the credit I give you, his ability to just navigate and see some of that stuff, it was like, man, if we put our time and energy into us just being the brand, how powerful could that be? Because we could also take it nationwide. And dude, there's a lot of people we've already met that aren't even in the same state that take it and run with it, and it's really cool. You know,
and coincidentally, it was like right after that happened, man. You know, him and I were
COVID.
We were still at Berkshire. We were still at our previous brokerage. Like, we didn't leave or anything. We just stopped having the team, and then COVID happened. And then we're sitting there during COVID doing a podcast, and we're like, people started getting more accustomed to Zoom calls, so we started having more agents on, you know, killer fucking agents in other places, started having them on the podcast virtually. Yeah. And then opportunity popped up at EXP, and then it was just because of that one decision. Man, if we had 14 people, we probably wouldn't have left.
Could you imagine everybody we're having to cater to that are freaking out over COVID versus like, hey, you know what we were doing? We were making a YouTube channel because we were figuring out ways of getting more remote to people and still delivering the product, the value, and overcoming this obstacle, not freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
Tempered. You know, like, so with your business and what you're doing now, like, what is that, man? What's your day? What does your day look like?
So good.
Is it?
I don't have to answer to anybody, man. No phone calls.
You don't have any. You don't have any wills.
I'm gonna mute your microphone right now, man. I'm jealous. Damn,
dude. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not saying this to make envy or anything. But I fucking love my life right now, man.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, there's stresses. Of course, there's always stress. You know, and I haven't made it. I'm not comfortable at all. You know, I haven't replaced my income yet, but it's a very comfort level for me is being in that spot, right? So, but I love my life, man. I could wake up whenever I want. You know me, dude. I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. Yep. You know, cranking, brainstorming. What if I do this? How do I get my show out? How do I film better? How do I hunt better? And, and what I really love about this, I love movies, right? I love going to it. That's my drug. Yeah. I'll go to a movie, whether it be sitting right here or in a movie theater or whatever, and I just lose myself. And also, I'm there in that movie. That's right. Cool. Like I'm just in a different world, and that's what I want to give my viewer. I want my viewer to lose himself in my show. I want him to feel like he's there with me.
But that's why it's there too, right? Like people want to brain dump and absorb. That's what they're watching in the first place for.
Yeah, and learn more about hunting or whatever it is.
But you want to be present. People are going there for a distraction, or maybe not a distraction. Like they love hunting and they want to learn more about hunting, but that's their time that they're choosing to do that with. Whether they're even if there's like, you ever do this, sit in your driveway before you go inside for the day and watch something on YouTube?
Oh yeah, dude.
Even if it's like for 10 minutes, people just want to sit and absorb content. Like, why not? Why not make it that?
Right. And obviously there's a big business side of it that I'm learning. You know, I'm a year into this thing, so I filmed one season. It was pretty successful. I mean, considerably, like I don't know if you guys know much about this, but like you have to draw a tag to get a license to hunt a specific animal, right? Okay. Like I didn't draw any tags, so I did everything I did was over the counter, places I've never been, have no clue where I'm going. It means I didn't have any time to like scout an animal or figure out where they're at. And I only had 2 hunts right in it. Wasn't successful at killing an animal. So and this was me first time filming my own stuff. So like. For the most part, I was super successful out hunting. We have like 30-some episodes on the YouTube channel, 5,000 subscribers, Western Obsessions TV.
Cool. Good name.
So, and Western Obsessions
I do want to make note of it, though. He did not bring us any hats or swag.
Dude, it was on my mind to do it, man.
Oh, that's funny.
God damn it. All right, I'm getting you hats.
Dude,
it was on my mind to do it.
Dude, I'm buying those hats. I don't take anything for free.
I got some shirts coming, too, so I'll get you guys some swag.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, I got one season under my belt, and now it's the business side of it, and I'm learning the business side of it. And I'm being creative, I'm making moves, I'm talking to brands and the shows, and doing a different spin on than rather these old school shows that are on there. So right now, here's what we got going, and it's Western Obsessions TV. And the reason why it's called Western Obsessions because the style of hunting I'm doing is a Western style hunt, which means mountains, elk, moose, bighorn sheep. The eastern side is more whitetail sitting in a stand. I do more spot and stock.
And it's
you have
all
to be
bow?
very fit. Most of it's bow. I do some rifle.
Okay.
But yeah, so my fitness side plays into this really well. I have to be very fit. So CrossFit, bow hunting in the mountain, spot and stock a bear or something like that. It's a very Western style hunting. So that's where the name comes. So the things we got going on right now, obviously we got the YouTube channel. I'm talking to Pursuit channel, Sportsman's channel. So I'll be on TV. I just want to be on every platform that I can, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to streaming apps. So I'll be on Amazon Prime, talking to Hulu right now. I'd love to get to Netflix, but I don't think I need to up my filming game a little bit, man. I just don't. Steve Rinella and Meat Eater. Have you ever watched that?
No.
Dude, he's a stud.
Good.
You got to watch that.
What's it called? What's it called?
Meat Eater.
Meat Eater. Yeah.
I've seen
Meat
it.
Eater. Okay.
Yeah.
He's like
Haven't seen
he's
it,
like
haven't
the
seen it.
staple. He's like what you're shooting for to be as a show.
Yeah, but here's the benefit of like guys that like are lead climbers per se. They're laying the line for others to climb. And especially when, dude, you know this from supplements. At some point, you got to carry every damn supplement on the planet because people coming into your store, they just want new shit. They're just supplement heads.
Yep.
They just want to take some new shit. Same thing. People watching Meat Eater, and they're gonna love that show.
yeah.
But they're also gonna be
They
exposed
wanna consume
to that,
more content.
But then they're gonna start wanting more content. So those platforms, there's an obligation for there. Like, why do you think you see 36,000 different comedians on Netflix now? Because comedy it's a big thing now. And the more that they've got on it, they know that, hey, if people are going to be choosing between spending $10 with Netflix or somewhere else, but, man, they're super driven by Bill Burr or Joe Rogan or whoever, and there's even more on there, and that's where you're super heavy. So same thing. Like Meat Eater, yeah, he's a front runner. He's a lead climber, but that rope stays. And there's going to be other things that are intended to go up that rope, not just one person. So they're, if anything, I'm sure they're looking for it.
Yeah, and I'm bringing a different spin to brands, too. So instead of just, hey, spend $10,000 to be on my episode for ad space, selling ad space, then I plug in the production company. White Rabbit Syndicate is my production company with Reese, your cousin.
yeah.
Yeah. And we'll produce the commercial that goes on our show. And we'll produce ongoing content for them all year long for their social media.
How is Reese doing? Good
Dude,
dude?
he's a stud, man.
I know he is.
He's awesome.
He's my family.
He's freaking out right now because it's wedding season. He has 15 flipping weddings that he's
Oh,
got.
dude.
Gross.
Yeah,
Gross.
Reese is one of those guys, man. He makes it look easy.
Yeah.
He handles stress really well. And if he doesn't, you wouldn't know about it. If he internalizes it and like has some punching bag at home that he just goes off on, you wouldn't know it. But man, he's one of those guys that just gets after it. And he reminds me of a guy in the gym that can bench 500 pounds but doesn't scream doing it. You know those guys that got to make a scene and walk around a couple times and then you finally see him bench like, all right. A little loud for 315. And then Reese is over there not making a sound. Like, oh, that guy just benched 500 pounds.
Yeah.
He's like that guy. Like, he's got a lot in his plate and he does a lot. He just doesn't make a huge deal of it. He just gets after it. And I think he just knows who he is too. Like he's really good behind the scenes. I think he loves being just a creator.
Yep.
And just gets after it.
Yeah. And he is. That's what he loves to do is creating. Remember we had that vlog? He was going to do the vlogs for us at Fit Republic.
Oh yeah.
And he hated that.
Did he really?
I mean, he liked it, but it was like he wasn't able to use his creative side as much.
I do remember that. I do remember
Yeah.
that. Here's a
Yeah.
funny story about Reese. I run in the same issue with Kate because she's on the engineering side and she's with a civil engineering company right now, building websites and all that cool stuff. I'm also a creative brain, but I'm not the technical side. But I know I've got a great eye for some things and how I see it and cool, right? It was so funny because Reese and I shared an office. When he first came into Fit Republic, I'm like, dude, come into my office. We'll split it. And he would show me stuff prior to it being done. It'd be like 20%. And he'd show me something. I'm like, nah, shit, bro.
Yeah, he sees the vision for it. He knows how. Yeah,
I also see the vision, but I couldn't see it past what he had already made.
you can't see what's in his head.
Well, and I don't realize that, like, nah, dude, I wanted this and this and this. And like, that stuff's coming. It's just, right?
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
expecting
yeah.
when he shows it to me to be more done.
That's why he won't show me anything until it's 90%. He won't do it. I'll ask him, hey,
better
can I see it? I'm excited to see it. He's like, nope, you can't see it.
He better credit me for that. Now, I was an asshole, like, nah, bro, it's shit. And like, he get fucking mad at me for saying that. But hey, but it's true, man. Like, what Reese can see or what it's going to be like, we know what we want it to be as well. But when you show us something on the screen, we don't realize the 9 other layers that are going to go on top that start creating something. And it's so hard. But, man, it was so fun because he'd be in my office. And he'd be like, yeah, man, just working on this. Like, what do you think? And, like, I'd be walking by to go grab some water. So I'm like, shit. As I'm just walking by, like, I don't even stop to say it. I'm walking by. True to a cousin.
Sure.
Right? Like, our family, we're bruisers, man. Like, growing up, we would beat the shit out of each other. Like, I don't know about everybody else's cousins. Like, that's just, we saw each other once or twice a year for holidays at grandparents' houses.
Yeah.
And it was like, like, we're beating the shit out of each other. That's just what we did. So, like, but here's the other problem. Like, well, but Reese works with you now. No, you can't just say that.
He's not just your cousin.
Yeah.
You're shitting on his work, buddy. You better watch out. And he's like closet good at karate.
Yeah, is he?
Most people don't know that. Reese will kick the dog crap out of you. If that guy leg kicks you, bad day.
Oh, I bet.
But he's just one of those guys where I say, like, I envy that because he just, and I'm not even sure where I'm at with it, but he's always just seemed like one of those guys that just handles pressure and things well. And even if he is stressed out about something, he gets to work with it.
Yeah.
Gets it done versus freaking out about it.
Good
dude.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. And as far as absolutely the production company, it wouldn't be there without Reese, man. He's like, what am I going to do? There's no way in hell I could do what he does.
Are you doing anything? What are you doing with that production company outside of obviously your own things?
Yeah. So like the hunting show, yes, I can sell ad space, and that's revenue, but it's really a foot in the door with brands to be able to produce stuff for them, right? So we produce with a bunch of
you tie them both together.
Yeah.
Not only do I give you ad space, but hey, we produce all your shit too. Yeah. 1-2 punch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which
great.
I create more value, right? Bring more value to the customer, right?
Yep.
We create more value for the brand to be able to produce their stuff so they don't have to spend $30,000 on a 30-second commercial and then spend $30,000 on the ad space. You can spend $30,000 once and we'll do it for you.
And it protects your brand too, because they're not going to send you some commercial that is just shit.
That's crap.
That you're just not, oh man, I got to put that on my channel now?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, so that's how that leads right into that. And we've done a bunch of stuff already for some brands. Some bigger stuff is like we did some stuff for Blackhawk. That was a big shoot. And then, dude, a lot of outfitters, like these mom and pop, like I'm taking people hunting outfitters, like they have shitty websites. So we're doing a bunch of websites. Reese hates websites now because he's done like 10 of them.
Yeah.
We should have brought Reese so he could just sit here and like stare at
I feel like I should call this Reese, dude.
Yeah, and just say, dude, I'm
what's
sorry,
up, bro? What's up, bro? How you doing?
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Well, and that also helps you out with like the whole Amazon Prime thing or Netflix thing because, man, I'm sure there's a lot of guys in your space that might be like great hunters.
Yeah. That's part of it.
But can you put him into production? Like, can you make a show out of him?
And do I get?
But if you already have if you already have your own content, your own show, like, hey, here's this guy, he fits the mold of this Western hunter thing, but he's also good on camera and articulates, and he actually produces his own shit. Man, he might be a way better plug and play for a bigger company like that versus like somebody else.
Well, for sure, man. That's what this industry is like. Every industry's got its own shit. Like we in the sports nutrition industry, you had the meathead that thought they were everything God's gift to weights, right? Like in chicks, like just narcissism.
Sponsor me for my show.
Yeah, dude.
I'll wear your shirt on stage.
Yeah,
I
hated
can't
that
wait.
shit, right?
I can't wait.
We have the same thing with this industry. Like I'm the biggest, baddest hunter there's ever known to man. I've killed hundreds of animals. Like, and that's the thing about, everyone wants to brag about how they're the best hunter out there, the toughest hunter. And
like, hey, bro,
I'm like, cool, bro.
You're missing it.
Yeah. Hey, good, man. I'm really glad that you're an awesome hunter. That's really cool. But if you want to like be on my show and like be a part of my team, show me what you filmed. Oh, well, I didn't film anything. Exactly. Like, I don't care if you're the best hunter in the world, man. Like, can you produce content that someone wants to watch?
Yep.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on? I gotta ask, right? What are your thoughts on Cam Hanes?
I think,
similar but different. And the only reason I'm saying Cameron Hanes, is because a lot of our listeners that come from like the Annie Frisella backgrounds or where some of our demographic comes from. Some, like, for example, in real estate, like when we've met people and I've helped them with some certain things and like they hear about my background, they go, "Oh, you're like Jocko."
Yeah.
I
get compared to Cam Hanes.
I go, "No, he's brilliant and way ahead of me." For the sake of what you're saying, yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, yes, but no, I'm not on his level. I'm not, no, but because they're making a correlation, and I appreciate guys like Jocko because they've allowed some of us military or SOCOM dudes kind of get into the business world and realize that, hey, if I'm putting my fundamentals that I think apply and it's working, he made that attractive. So credit where credit's due. So no, I'm not him. But when someone that just doesn't know any better says his name, I know what you're getting at. So I'm sure for our listeners, when they hear Cameron Haynes, they're like, oh, fucking Kurt's like a Cameron Haynes. No, because you're actually having a show with it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he does a
Cam,
show.
man,
But
he has a I mean, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly the name of the show, but I know he films his hunts and it gets produced and stuff like that.
I know he does a lot of
sponsored by Under Armour, which is a big deal.
Oh, man.
You know, what's cool about Cam Haynes is he doesn't do it full time. If I don't know if people,
he's got a 9 to 5.
He's got a 9 to 5, man.
He's like a city worker. He works on
Yeah.
like steel or city like sewers or something crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what he
power
does, but
lines.
he has a full-time job, and he does this and runs a marathon a day. Like, the dude's a fucking stud. Not gonna lie, the dude's a stud.
Yeah.
Here's my one qualm to Cam Haynes, where I'm not like Cam Haynes. So people compare me, and I'm not even close to Cameron Haynes. The dude has got an enormous following. He's been doing it way longer than I have. You know, like, I'm not trying to compare myself to Cam Haynes. We're both fitness hunters, right? Fitness hunters. That's how I get compared to Cam Haynes.
Right.
But here's where I'm different is I'm a little more humble than Cam Haynes, right?
You think so?
And the dude's a stud. And he's killed a lot of shit. But I, you know, and he has all right to brag about what he's done.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not about what I'm going to kill. I'm more about like, hey, come experience this experience with me. I'm not the best hunter out there. I'm never going to say that I am the best hunter.
Yep.
But I'm going to go out and have some fun, and I want you to experience it with me.
And here's what's cool. And here's one thing I've heard him say. And here's one thing I know you're going to be very similar with is like he commented sometimes on like people complaining about like a Joe Rogan or somebody going out getting a tag, or he took Jocko and it's like, oh, people are waiting for years. And he's like, who cares? Who cares if they jumped some line or got some special treatment on someone's private land? If it's private land, it's private land. It doesn't matter, right?
Doesn't matter.
Hey, he's like, hey, who cares? He's like, hey, what really matters is like the sport, like this industry is getting so known. Like, do you guys understand when Joe Rogan like comes out with me and I get to share this stuff with them and expose it, like what that does for our industry? Like, who cares if they're on someone's private land? Embrace that there are so many more people becoming accepting of the treatment of the animal.
Yeah.
How much of the animal that you use, how humane it actually is, and the experiences that you're talking about. Like, dude, how cool. Stop complaining about some dude getting special and realize what he does for it.
And the industry has blown up with women and younger guys for sure.
How cool is that?
Dude, last year alone, just in Colorado, there was 50,000 more tags applied for.
Wow, 50,000.
Just in this state alone.
Damn.
So it's blowing up, and people are looking up to guys like Cam Haynes. So there's more like fitness bow hunters. And
Do you think COVID has anything to do with that? Because here's one of the things. Like I
Yeah,
remember,
because people are absorbing more online.
well, not only that, but I remember
getting
taking a
outside
walk with
more.
my wife during like right when COVID was like they locked everything down. Man, grocery stores were like lines outside, and I'm like, you know what's this making me think about? I've never had a desire to hunt, but if I had to provide for my family today, I couldn't. You know, and that freaked me out a little bit.
And I had freezers of meat, man.
Yeah.
Like 3 big deep freezers of meat.
That's my point. That's my point. You know, like if anyone shut the grocery store right now, we're not eating.
Yeah.
It's scary. Fucking
And that's
scary.
which is a very good point for coming from someone that's not a hunter. I think hunters hide behind that fact a little bit. Well, I'm providing meat for my family. I'm like, yeah, you are, but like there's other places to get meat. You don't have to, you know what I mean? But like where I think COVID really played in is people were bored and had nothing to do. And they got out and said, I've always kind of thought about this hunting
Get a hobby.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a hobby.
They ordered a bow online.
But then they start really liking it.
They saw it really like that. Oh, man,
Yeah.
shooting a bow is fun, man. It's just a lot of fun. You don't have to kill anything. Just go shoot a bow, man.
It
It's
looks
a lot of
appealing.
fun.
I'm not gonna lie. Of all the shit that like hunters have, the bow looks appealing.
Yeah. So I've been hit up by countless of people that are brand new bow hunters, want advice. Can you take me hunting? Can you show me this? What about that? Like brand new hunters, and it's all in the bow. There's not a lot in rifle, but like the fitness bow hunter has definitely blown up.
Man, you should put all of those people into like a private boot camp.
Yeah.
Costs $100. Hey, I'm gonna come on here, for 3 days. Hey, next month we see this in real estate. Hey, next month I'm gonna be on here for 4 days, 2 to 3 hours in a row. And I'm going to teach you every single thing that you need to know from, hey, what I do as far as like the bow. And then, hey, if you guys want more about how I do my production and other stuff, hey, cool, but I'm going to teach this, and this is your bow boot camp.
Yeah.
You sell tickets for $89.
Heck yeah, man.
You shoot it on Facebook Live in a private group where you had to pay to get inside of.
That's a
And
good idea.
you just walk through that boot camp, and you're on 4 nights in a row. And just get after it. Do like in the spring where the weather's decent, and you get out in the backyard and just cover. Start to finish.
Everything.
Literally, here's a bow. This is what it looks like.
Here's
no
the parts
shit.
of a bow.
Dude,
Yeah.
we see people like, as long as the content's valuable, man, we see people in real estate that just do private boot camps. Hey, $100, you can get in. Here's what we're doing for the next 4 nights.
I'd pay like $4.95 for that.
$4.95.
No.
495.
500? No. 495? Hell
Dude,
yeah.
There's
Hell
a lot
yeah.
of the white collar world, lenders and realtors. Like, there's people in those demographics that also have hobbies or that want a hobby. It's not just the blue collar boys that want to shoot bows or get into hiking and different stuff. Like, and there's money in real estate and there's money in lending. Like, there's people that can afford to go on those experiences. We've taken a lot of them to Spartan 7 events.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I really kind of want to do is a fitness archery contest.
Yeah. Like the Olympics, man.
Yeah. Well, and here's
But
what
local.
I'm thinking is like local, but like, I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off this year because I'm running out of time, but maybe next year is like throwing a pack, ruck, right? You're going to do a 3-mile course. You're going to have 30 targets in 3-mile course. At each station, you have to do something fitness, burpees, squats, pull-ups, whatever it is.
Yeah.
One shot at the target. Your score is how accurate you are and how fast you can do the course.
Damn.
I think it'd be fucking a blast.
Man, you know who that reminds me of? Tosh.
Yeah.
We've got a buddy that we do diesel days with. Man, you should do a diesel day.
Yeah, you should.
You should. It's a
Yeah,
24-hour physical endurance challenge.
All right.
24 hours nonstop. I did it, so you can do it. You're good. Right? You know, I always say that. Like, I did it. You're good. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
right?
like that.
You're like the baseline here? Like,
Dude,
what?
Marcus Luttrell was on Joe Rogan's podcast not too long ago. He's like, that was the slowest seal to ever pass fucking buds. But he's like, hey, when I go, and I got it, you know, and like, but you'd like it. But man, Tosh up in Boulder, he's got 24 acres, and where he does his diesel days is he's got like a 3-mile trail that's got different elevations to it, and he implements CrossFit and different things into that, plus different types of hikes with like a loaded carry. You know, like depending on like range safety and things like that, you could probably add a bow. To that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds. I mean, you know, I'm a little nuts when it comes to fitness. That sounds fun to me because I'm challenging myself.
Well,
you know?
well, you would like it. And Tosh is a ultra endurance athlete.
Yeah.
He's in the Badwater 240s. He's getting ready to row the Atlantic next year. You know, yep. His wife is Nicole Carroll.
Yeah.
Nice. She's a homegirl from CrossFit. She's like
He
director
put a treadmill in a storage container,
for 24
shut
hours.
it, no electricity, had a bucket to shit in, ran over 100 miles in 24 hours.
Holy shit. That's
In a fucking storage container, in the
Yeah.
dark. Literally, no lights, nothing. No headlamp, nothing. In
You
the
know,
dark.
I'd be cool with that except for the dark.
Dude,
Your mind could do some dumb shit.
Dude,
when
hell
you're sitting in
yeah.
the dark that
Hell
long.
yeah.
Dude, he's gnarly. He was a Marine Corps commander when I was in the Marine Corps, and I served with him. That's where Tosh comes from, and more importantly, he's just a good dude, and he's one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
He's beautiful. But man, like he's got some diesel days coming up. Well, I'll talk to you after the
should, yeah.
podcast. You should
Let's
do it because that'll also give you an opportunity to meet him and like, hey, maybe there's some things that you guys could do together. And I know you're versed in business. He's versed in business, but he's also into like the hunting and different things and the Spartan 7 stuff we do. You know, there'd be some cool stuff and maybe you guys sharing some of your networks together. I think might be really cool.
Yeah,
some,
man,
some
that'd be
good
cool.
stuff there.
I'd
Cool.
like it.
Well, shit, man.
Yeah.
Where can people find you, man? Give us a rundown.
You know, Instagram. It's just Kurt_Belding. Instagram. Our YouTube channel's Western Obsessions TV. So look for us there. We should after filming this next season, we should be on Amazon Prime and some of the streaming apps.
Cool.
Yeah, you know, I'm doing a deal with Pursuit and Sportsman's Channel right now with a broker company. So we'll figure that out. But follow me on Instagram. Man, I got some cool things lined up.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, I love my life right now. I just fucking love it. I'm going to Idaho on a turkey hunt. I'm taking Bella, my wife, with me.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Right. So that's one of the things. Allie, my wife, was starting to get pissed because I get to go off and do all these like cool shit. Right.
Yep.
So I'm bringing her there, and then in June I'm doing a bear hunt in Saskatchewan, just with a knife.
What?
Just kidding.
Oh,
Just
Jesus
kidding.
Christ.
I'm just kidding. And then in July I'm going to Africa and doing an Africa hunt in July, and that's the one like
Cool.
Allie was like, wait, you're going to Africa? She's like, fuck, I'm going with you.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, a lot of cool shit coming up, man. I get to live exactly the way I want to live. Man.
I got a
It's
buyer
awesome.
prezo coming up soon, and then I got a cardigan to put on, and I've got a listing presentation later on in the
Got a
evening.
sewer that's fucked up we can deal with. We got an appraisal that's coming in low we can deal with. Fuck it. Almost the same thing. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know.
Pretty much hunting a bear with a knife. Yeah. Welcome to real estate.
No, that's awesome, man. And as always, it's fun to reconnect. I know we've both been busy, and we'll chat on behind the scenes on text message every once in a while. But it was fun to chat with you the other day and just go like, fuck it, man, let's come do a podcast. Let's just chat and have some time. And if we're gonna chat and catch up, we might as well
As we'll do
put
it
it
on
out
a
there
podcast,
for audience
right?
where people can maybe pull some content from it. But man, what a pleasure. Let's definitely keep in touch. And yeah, as soon as we get off of this, I'll chat with you about some of the things we got going on. And there might be some good guys in our world that you may want to
For sure, man.
to meet and to see if you can collab with.
I like it.
Cool.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Day $1 guys. Appreciate you listening. And we've had a ton of people sharing lately too, like screenshots from our podcast.
We
just
love
throwing their
it.
2 cents on there, tagging us, sharing it. That goes a long way, guys. So we super
More than a long way. You guys always matter. Matter of fact, I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw this out there. If you guys want to, I've been doing one-on-one, and this is a good idea for you jokers too, unless you're too busy. But I've been doing some one-on-one FaceTimes on Instagram every Sunday evening. Pick your day. But I've been getting a lot of questions. I feel better if I can just answer some questions through conversation. So I was on Sunday night. I did an Instagram live one time. Everybody was watching, but no one wanted to jump on the screen with me because everyone is watching, right? Because it's my live. I'm like, all right, but then like right after I was done, I got all these other questions. So people are being a little bit bashful. So I'm like, well, instead of doing Instagram live, why don't I just call people one-on-one? I'll take the same amount of time, hour to an hour and a half, but I'll just book a couple 20-minute calls. And hey, I've got this window, and if somebody wants that window, hey, you can have 15 or 20 minutes, or if I got to cut it down to 10 so more people can fit. And I just hang out Sunday evening, pour myself a drink, call folks one-on-one on Instagram that like if I had questions or requested it, through Instagram. So if you guys are listening to this and you want something like that, throw me a message on Will_Grimes on Instagram and we can do it. But man, it's been super cool because man, the questions people have you would never guess they had.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if I'm just shooting from the hip trying to answer what I think you want me to answer on Instagram Live by myself, maybe I'm missing it. But when I get to talk to someone one-on-one and FaceTime with them, they're like, dude, what's up? I'm like, what's up, dude? What you got, man? Pour a drink. Let's go. You got 20 minutes. Let's roll.
That's cool.
Yep.
But some of the stories you hear, some of the questions aren't quite what you might think, but really good questions. And it's so cool just being able to like connect with people on that one-on-one basis and just kind of like feel like you're around your audience. And so if anybody wants something like that, I don't know about these guys.
Man, I'll do it. If you guys are watching this, find me on Instagram, DM me. Let's set it up. I'll go one-on-one with you guys too. I like it, man. You inspired me.
If I hear anybody send me a message that you're canceling because you had me scheduled
Because you want to be on.
because you're gonna be on Kurt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on Kurt. And I'm gonna
fucked.
find you. Dude.
Yeah, they call Kurt. Will answers. Hello. Where's Kurt?
I knew it.
Yeah. That's funny.
But they see in their camera that I'm like right behind them.
Yeah.
No, always fun. But man, you should try that out sometime. Like
Yeah,
if you
I like
ever
it.
want to connect with your audience, people are just super bashful when the live is going. They don't want to necessarily share a screen.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to connect on the live because your name pops up on the little thing and you don't want to like put the comment. I get it, man.
Yeah, but when you're one-on-one, like if someone can send you a private DM, like, hey, dude, here's the deal. Great question. I've got this thing on Sunday from 6 to 7:30. You want in? I got 20 minutes for you.
Yeah.
Like I still got a couple
great
spots. And like, yeah, cool. Like, dude, they got a drink. I got a drink. Man, last week I was sitting in my truck. Kiddos were inside. I was sitting in my truck and really cool. So yeah, anybody out there, man, feel free to take that idea. I think it's super productive. But until next time, we will catch you guys soon.
All right. See you guys.
Out.
This is for my team, man, we out here on the come up. Now you breaking chains with the band name Long Cut. Yo, I never was the same once I rode off the lot. Promise Papa on my name, I